BJP drops a big bombshell on the Maharashtra crisis. Eyes tie up with Shinde Sena to form government. Fadnavis holds hectic parleys. Ashok Gehlot versus Sachin Pilot war reignites. Rajasthan Chief Minister takes a jibe at Pilot, claiming he conspired with BJP to topple the Congress government. Sachin Pilot hits back, says he does not pay heed to what Gehlot even says. Big breaking news coming in. The Shiv Sena slams the BJP in its mouthpiece Samna. Shiv Sena says Amit Shah spoke to the rebels. The Sena mouthpiece Samna goes on to further say rebels have been backed by the BJP. And they further go on to ask, that is Shiv Sena through Samna asks, will Maharashtra accept this sin? That's the big story in Samna today, which is the mouthpiece of Shiv Sena. They've gone ahead and slammed the BJP, going on to say Amit Shah spoke to the rebels and the rebels have been backed by the Bharatiya Janata Party, and questioning the people of Maharashtra whether they will accept this sin or not. Let's get Paras Dama live on the story. Do we have him? We'll get Paras Dama in just about a bit for the latest, but amidst all of this back and forth going on and the Maharashtra political crisis worsening, Paras Dama now joins us to get us the latest breaking news that is coming in. Paras, Samna, the mouthpiece of Shiv Sena, has made a very big allegation saying that Amit Shah spoke to the rebels and that rebels have been backed by the Bharatiya Janata Party, questioning whether the people of Maharashtra are going to be accepting this sin. What is the sentiment or reaction coming in from the Bharatiya Janata Party on these allegations?
So it's been third or fourth day where we can continuously see Samna, the mouthpiece of Shiv Sena, is targeting Bharatiya Janata Party in every means and every sense. Today also Bharatiya Janata Party has been targeted by Shiv Sena in a way that Shiv Sena is saying that Sanjay Raut is saying that Bharatiya Janata Party has planned all this thing and they are responsible for that. Bharatiya Janata Party wants to break Maharashtra, and that's why they are planning this type of situation in Maharashtra. They also targeted the rebels. Sanjay Raut just tweeted and he said Jalalat is a type of death, and dead bodies are walking. They are alive, but dead bodies are walking in Maharashtra. So there are some important
and you know, that's the other big breaking that we're bringing to our viewers as well at this point of time. The breaking news coming in from Maharashtra is about Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut taking on the Shinde Sena, once again firing the living corpse salvo at the rebels. So Paras, what you were talking to us just a while back, that's the latest breaking news coming in. And you know, it's not something that he said fresh this morning. He maintained this even yesterday.
Yes, it's been 2 days. On the day before yesterday, he was addressing a rally in Daisar, and over there he used the same thing that we will just dead body things was also said at the Daisar rally also. So this is the second day when he is talking about dead bodies and all these things. So Sanjay Raut or Shiv Sena, they are in a commanding mood right now. They are targeting Shinde Sena plus Bharatiya Janata Party in every sense and means. We can see continuously targeting them in every means. So this may be a little difficult situation right now in Maharashtra politics. So combat mode is on from both the sides. On the other hand, Shinde Sena is too confident that they are going to come, they are going to win, and they are going to conquer the situation because they have numbers game on their side. On the other hand, we can see the desperation because yesterday ED has also summoned Sanjay Raut, but today he's not going to go to ED because he has a rally at Alibag. So there are some important points which are coming our way right now, and Shiv Sena is facing, and Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi Sarkar is facing a lot of trouble right now.
All right, leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining us with the very latest details. Parath Dama joining us for the latest as far as all the salvos are concerned, coming in from the Shiv Sena against the rebel MLAs and against the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, after suffering a major setback in the Supreme Court, India today has decoded all the possible scenarios. We're breaking this down for you. All the possible scenario of the Maharashtra political crisis, because everybody wants to know what could be the possible scenarios now. The governor now can take suo motu cognizance and call the Maha Vikas Aghadi government for a floor test to prove the majority. That is one possibility. Now, if the 49 MLAs who Shinde claims are with him, they abstain from voting in the floor test, it would be a clear advantage. And please make no mistake about this. Clear advantage to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Why? Because the Bharatiya Janata Party has 104 lawmakers in the Maharashtra Assembly, and it is also claimed to have gotten the support of some independent MLAs. All of this is coming at a time when the disqualification power of Maharashtra Deputy Speaker has now been put on hold by the Supreme Court. The Shiv Sena has already removed Eknath Shinde as their legislative party leader, and they've gone ahead and recognized Ajay Chaudhary as the CLP leader. Now, the Eknath Shinde camp has called the move illegal as it's claimed to have the support of 49 MLAs. Now, with each passing hour, in fact, each passing minute and each passing second, and that's how fast this story is really progressing, the suspense is mounting over the Maha Vikas Aghadi Sarkar. Is the floor test inevitable now? That's the big question. Big India Today scoop coming in from the Shinde Sena. Shinde Sena undecided on approaching the governor. That is what the sources are saying. All eyes on Maharashtra governor's next move. Will Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari take suo motu cognizance in action? Will the BJP or smaller parties approach the governor? That's the big question at the moment. At the moment, Shiv Sena, Shinde Sena, I beg your pardon, is undecided on approaching the governor. And this is a big one coming in, because if you've got the numbers, why would you be afraid of approaching the governor at this point of time? This is source-based information, of course, that is coming in. He's not said this on record. But like I mentioned earlier, one possible scenario is that the governor takes suo motu cognizance and calls for a floor test. So all eyes are going to be on Bhagat Singh Koshyari now. He was down with COVID. He's recovered. And he's now going to be back in action. So it's obviously going to be interesting to watch to see if the Maharashtra governor goes on to take a suo motu cognizance of this and calls for a floor test. In case a floor test happens, then it's going to be a big test for the Maha Vikas Aghadi government, because for the moment it looks like they do not really have the numbers on their side. Maushami Singh is joining us now from Matoshri in Mumbai. Maushami, sources saying Eknath Shinde is not going to be approaching the governor for a floor test. Now, big question arising on that front. If you've got the numbers, why would you not do that? Secondly, even if a floor test is called, in fact, yesterday Supreme Court ended up saying that the Uddhav Thakkare government can approach the courts in case this is going to happen. Now, the question remains is, will Bhagat Singh Koshyari take suo motu cognizance or not? What are you picking up in terms of all of this? I know I've asked you too many questions this morning.
Chachi, that's all right. A very good morning to you and all our viewers. Importantly, if you look at the entire what the Supreme Court has said, that has really changed the dynamics of the entire situation. The BJP, though tight-lipped, is very upbeat about the Uddhav Sena and, in fact, the NDA government being in minority. The governor is back. The ball is in the court of the governor. Remember, he could be approached, in fact, by the Shinde Sena. But as the news is pouring in that the Shinde Sena is reluctant, now that really spells and indicates a twist in the entire story, because Eknath Shinde camp has been absolutely batting on the front foot, very aggressive. And in the past 2 days, we've seen claims made by the Shinde Sena. So importantly, one thing is there, the buzz in Mumbai was after the verdict that perhaps the 11th July deadline is a negative for the Shinde Sena, is a disadvantage to the Shinde Sena, because remember the Supreme Court has not said or didn't go to the extent of saying that the proceedings couldn't happen. They have just said that the proceedings, as far as the disqualification of these MLAs is concerned, should be put on hold till the 11th of January. That really puts the fate of the Shinde Sena in limbo, gets the element of doubt within the entire rank and file of the Shinde camp. Remember, many switched in the last moment, in the last 4-5 days. So they were not staunch Shinde Sena followers. They were, in fact, changed their mind as the things proceeded. So, this is a psychological game. And the reluctance could be explained because of this ambiguity over their fate. Importantly, there is also a buzz that the Shinde Sena perhaps may have been used by the BJP to fire the salvo against the MVA government, because if these MLAs stand disqualified, or if the disqualification proceedings go on after 11th of July, what is their fate, and what was this entire coup for? That's the question that would be on the minds of the Shinde Sena. Perhaps Mumbai is still the political minefield. All eyes are on Mumbai because there was speculation that the Shinde Sena could come to Mumbai. We will have to wait and watch. Even as the Eknath Shinde camp and the Uddhav camp, both are trying to give a tit for tat. Uddhav, in fact, Aditya Thackeray defined the entire battle where it will be headed yesterday when he said that those who run away perhaps don't deserve to be heard. And that's the line that the Shiv Sena is taking. They really think that the Uddhav Sena thinks that this is an advantage to them as far as the mind game is concerned, because this is a ticking time bomb. The more the Shinde camp drag on in Guwahati, the more pressure will build on them.
Absolutely. And, it's going to be interesting now to see whether Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari takes more cognizance and calls for that floor test also. Maushami continue to be with us right here on this broadcast. After 10 whole days of the high voltage political drama, the advantage is with the Shinde camp, or rather, it appears to be with the Shinde camp. With 39 MLAs with Shinde, the numbers seem to be in favor of the rebels at the moment. Let's make no mistake about that. On Monday, the Supreme Court also extended the deadline for the rebels to respond to the disqualification notice. Now, what remains to be seen is whether the Shinde camp demands a floor test or not. And the governor can also take suo motu cognizance of the situation, as I already mentioned, and call for a floor test in Maharashtra Assembly. The Shinde camp might withdraw support from MVA. That is also another possibility. It can also approach the governor with the numbers, take claim on the Shiv Sena and support BJP to form a government. In fact, even if they want to do this, they will need the support of the BJP. The suspense is just mounting. It is continuing to loom and is becoming more interesting than anything else that you're watching on TV these days. Now, after the Supreme Court's relief to the Shinde faction, according to sources, the rebels have now extended their stay in Guwahati. And this has happened till 5th of July. They've extended their stay, assuming that this is going to be a long battle for the Game of Thrones Maharashtra. Let's watch the special report to understand the lay of the land.
Time is running short for Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. His last bid to take control of the situation has been stopped dead in tracks by the Supreme Court. The top court has extended the deadline to respond to the disqualification notice served to rebel MLAs. The Shinde camp now has got a strategic edge, raising suspense over their next move. The possibility of the Shinde camp approaching the governor is slim. Sources tell India Today that the rebel MLAs have already extended their stay in Guwahati till July 5th. Sources say the BJP too is unlikely to approach the governor. According to the sources, a small party from the state could approach the Raj Bhavan. The possibility of Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari calling for a floor test on his own is also not ruled out.
There are two ways. Either we'll have to go, otherwise, as a tradition, they will have to admit that they don't have the number, they should step down, and then we will form our government. If they don't do that within next 1 or 2 days, then we'll think about our strategy.
The Shinde camp is hopeful that Uddhav will step down as the chief minister. If the Uddhav government falls, the BJP is likely to stake claim, as with 106 MLAs. It is the largest party in the state. The Maharashtra political turmoil has continued for 10 days, and it does not seem to be ending anytime soon. Bureau Report, India Today.
In a huge move, the Bharatiya Janata Party has broken its silence on the raging Maharashtra political turbulence, even as a slew of meetings took place last evening at the leader of opposition Devendra Fadnavis' residence. While the Uddhav faction, which is the Uddhav Sena faction, continues to fight back with Aditya Thackeray, the only remaining MLA supporting Uddhav. More details in this report.
Back-to-back MLAs joining rebel clan. And now a major setback from the Supreme Court. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray is losing on many fronts. As the political crisis intensifies and Mahavikas Aghadi teeters on the brink of collapse, the Bharatiya Janata Party has dropped a big hint.
अभी तो ये मांग श्री एकनाथ शिंदे जी के गठ की ओर से की गई है, हमने उस पे भी ध्यान दिया है और आने वाले दिनों में जैसा मैंने कहा, जैसे जैसे गठों की ओर से प्रस्ताव आएंगे, उस प्रस्ताव के बाद फिर कोर टीम बैठकर उचित निर्णय करेगी.
The BJP broke its silence on the power tussle even as a slew of meetings took place on Monday night at the leader of the opposition, Devendra Fadnavis' house. Team Uddhav, however, is putting up a brave front. Uddhav's son and the only Sena MLA in the cabinet to stick to him, Aditya Thackeray, has dared rebel MLAs and their chief Eknath Shinde to a floor test.
If they're truly courageous and rebellious, come here, resign from your posts, have the courage to stand for elections in front of us, and then we'll see.
Shiv Sena allied Congress, so far a mute spectator, has jumped to Uddhav's defense.
हमारे पास मेजॉरिटी है, वहाँ के भी होने के बाद भी मेजॉरिटी हमारे पास है. जिस तरह से एमएलएस को ले जाकर बेहोशी का इंजेक्शन दिया जा रहा है, उनको मारा जा रहा है, ये भी बात छुपी नहीं है. और 50 करोड़ रुपए एक एमएलए को देने की बात भी जो उनके तरफ से आ रही है, तो ये जो घोड़े बाजार जो चल रहा है, इसके पर भी हमारा ध्यान है और हम भी कोर्ट में जाएंगे और कोर्ट से हमको जस्टिस मिलेगा.
Sources tell India Today that Eknath Shinde, who is camping with nearly 50 legislators, including independents, in Guwahati, has already met Devendra Fadnavis in Vadodara on June 25th. The question now is, will the Shinde Sena move in for the kill? Bureau Report, India Today.
India Today's Kamlesh Sutar was in conversation with leader of opposition Devendra Fadnavis last year in November. The interview shows how Fadnavis was asked if the BJP government got Shinde in MP, that is Scindia in MP, there would be another Shinde, whether it was in sight or not in Maharashtra. It was this kind of a question that was asked. Listen into what his response was on this.
असं मध्य प्रदेशमध्ये शिंदे सापडले, म्हणजे ज्योतिरादित्य शिंदे सापडले. महाराष्ट्रात कोणी असं
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाही.
असं कोणी आहे का, असं शिंदेच्या टप्प्यात कोणी आहे का असं?
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाहीत. चर्चेत असलेले म्हणजे जे आता एक निवडणूक हारलेले शिंदे, शिवसेनेतले शिंदे, अजून काँग्रेसमध्ये आहेत का कोणी?
The Maharashtra political crisis has reached the Supreme Court, but round one of this legal battle seems to have gone in favor of rebel Shinde camp. The top court has extended the deadline for the 16 rebel MLAs to reply to the disqualification notices. Meanwhile, political battle is playing out on the streets with both the camps trying to show their strength. Here's a complete report on how the drama unfolded yesterday.
From resorts in Guwahati to the Mantralay and Raj Bhavan in Mumbai to the Supreme Court in Delhi, the battle for power in Maharashtra is being fought on many fronts. The man in the eye of the storm, CM Uddhav Thackeray, suffered a blow on Monday. The Supreme Court has put on hold the disqualification proceedings against the rebels led by Eknath Shinde. The court has given Shinde and his supporters time till July 11th to reply to the Deputy Speaker's notice. It has also issued notices to the Uddhav government and the Deputy Speaker, asking them to submit their replies within 5 days. The court directed the Uddhav government to provide protection to the rebel MLAs and their families. The Uddhav camp is putting up a brave front despite the setback in the court.
फ्लोर टेस्टसाठी ते तयार आहेत की नाही हा पहिला प्रश्न आहे. आमची फ्लोर टेस्ट आम्ही सांगितलेले काय आहे. मला वाटतं एकच आहे, फ्लोर टेस्टपेक्षा जो कोणी पळून गेलेला आहे, काही काही त्याच्यात खरोखर आमचे पण आहेत जे तिथून सतत फोन करतात की आमची सुटका करा, त्यांना फसवलं गेलं आहे, अजून ते संपर्कात आहेत. पण ज्यांनी दगाफटका केला त्यांनी डोळ्यात डोळे घालून बोलावं आम्हाला की आम्ही काय चुकीचं केलं. ही माझी त्यांना फ्लोर टेस्ट आहे.
शिंदे जी, उनकी शिवसेना ये मूल शिवसेना है. ये जो उन्होंने कहा है, घोषणा की है, उस विषय में भी मंथन हुआ है कि अभी भी हमने वेट एंड वॉच करते हुए आने वाले दिनों में जैसी परिस्थिति निर्माण होगी फिर से कोर टीम बैठेगी और उचित निर्णय भारतीय जनता पार्टी पूरी साथ में आगे जाएगी.
The war between Shinde Sena and Uddhav Sena is spilling onto streets. From Shinde's stronghold Thane to Kolhapur, supporters of both camps held protests in show of strength. Meanwhile, the Enforcement Directorate has summoned Uddhav's trusted aide Sanjay Raut for questioning in a 1,034 crore land scam case.
देखिए, मेरा आवाज आप बंद नहीं कर सकते. आप ईडी की नोटिस भेज दीजिए या मेरी गर्दन उड़ा दो. मैं गुवाहाटी से रास्ते से नहीं निकलूंगा. जेल जाऊंगा ना, आप मुझे अरेस्ट कर सकते हो. अभी मैं बैठा हूँ शिव सेना भवन में. आप आइए, अरेस्ट करो, मुझे बुलाओ कब आना है, मैं जाऊंगा.
As the fight gets messy, another Thackeray is quietly watching the chaos unfold. The MNS chief has spoken to Shinde, the man behind the storm. With the Supreme Court set to hear the case next on July 11th, is Maharashtra looking at a longer spell of uncertainty, or will Shinde and the BJP go for the kill? Bureau Report, India Today.
The Uddhav Sena versus Shinde Sena fight has gotten violent. Supporters of Shiv Sena and Shinde camp have locked horns against each other in Maharashtra's Kolhapur district. Clashes erupted between both the factions. Situation became so tense that the police had to intervene and detain several workers.
Shinde Sena versus Uddhav Sena on the streets of Maharashtra. Street clashes, effigy burning, sloganeering and street marches. Supporters of Shinde and Uddhav came face to face in Maharashtra's Kolhapur. Unruly scenes were witnessed as both camps indulged in a brawl. Cops had to eventually intervene and detain the rival agitators. Shinde camp is in no mood to budge even on the streets. Sena's most vocal leader Sanjay Raut's effigy was burnt in rebel chief Eknath Shinde's stronghold, Thane. Eknath Shinde's son, Shrikant Shinde, who led the protests, pledged an all-out fight to uphold Bala Saheb Thackeray's legacy from Uddhav government in minority.
गावत का अंत कहां तक होगा? आखिर ये लड़ाई जाएगी कहां तक?
गावत नहीं है, ये लोगों को जो चाहिए, वो महाराष्ट्र के जो लोगों को चाहिए, जनता को चाहिए, वो जो है वो आज एकनाथ शिंदे साहब के नेतृत्व में जो है वो सभी एमएलए लोगों ने किया है।
Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, who is bleeding MLAs by the hour, ordered a crackdown on the rebels, stripping the rebel ministers of their portfolios, reallocating their posts among the remaining loyalists. Eknath Shinde's Urban Development Ministry has been handed over to Subhash Desai. Gulab Rao Patil's Water Supply and Sanitation Department has been given over to Anil Parab. Uddhav Thakuray's son Aditya was handed over 3 additional ministries. The two rival Sena factions engaged in a serious fight over Bala Sahib's legacy. Sanjay Raut targeted rebels and accused them of ditching the Sena and the Thackeray family for their political gains.
जो लोग 40-40 साल से पार्टी में रहते हैं और भाग जाते हैं, उनका जमीर मर गया, आत्मा मर गया है, तो क्या बचता है? जिंदा लाश, जिंदा कौमें।
The fight for the Maha throne is far from over, with both the Sena camps not ready to budge. With Mausami Singh in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
As the political churn in Maharashtra continues, top Shiv Sena leader and MP Sanjay Raut has been summoned by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with an alleged land scam case. Sanjay Raut, however, remains defiant, calling the Enforcement Directorate summons against him a BJP conspiracy, declaring that he would rather get beheaded than go to Guwahati.
अपने बाप के नाम पर पार्टी बनाओ और अपने बाप के नाम पर वोट मांगो। हमारा जो पार्टी का बाप है, उसका क्यों आप इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो? आपको तो 100 बाप है उधर।
He has been the principal troubleshooter of the beleaguered Uddhav government, leading the fight from the front, with a series of fiery counters.
जिस तरह की राजनीतिक हलचल मुंबई में चल रही है, महाराष्ट्र में, देश में चल रही है, तो मुझे पूरा अंदेशा था कि मेरे बारे में मुझे रोकने के लिए, शिवसेना को रोकने के लिए कुछ लोग इकट्ठा आएंगे महाराष्ट्र के खिलाफ और मुझे और मेरे कोई साथी हुए उनको तकलीफ देंगे।
And now Uddhav Sena MP Sanjay Raut finds himself in Enforcement Directorate crosshairs, summoned for grilling over his role in Patra Chawla land scam case, amid the thick of Maharashtra power tussle. Raut was quick to dare the centre to arrest him, saying he is ready to be beheaded, but not bow.
देखिए, मेरा आवाज आप बंद नहीं कर सकते। आप ईडी की नोटिस भेज दीजिए या मेरी गर्दन उड़ा दो, मैं गुवाहाटी से रास्ते से नहीं निकलूंगा। मैं यहाँ ही रहूंगा मेरे पार्टी के साथ। आप इतनी भी कोशिश करो, मैं मर जाऊंगा, लेकिन आपने मेरे खिलाफ ईडी लगाया, सीबीआई लगाया, मैं जेल जाऊंगा ना। आप मुझे अरेस्ट कर सकते हो। अभी मैं बैठा हूँ शिवसेना भवन में, आप आइए, अरेस्ट करो, मुझे बुलाओ, कब आना है, मैं जाऊंगा।
Sena too quickly rallied behind Sanjay Raut.
कोर्टाने दिलेल्या निर्णयावरती प्रतिक्रिया देण्याची मला वाटते मला गरज नाही, कारण कोर्ट अतिशय सक्षम आहे। या देशातील सुप्रीम कोर्ट अतिशय सक्षमपणे निर्णय घेते।
But legally it doesn't look good for the belligerent Sena MP. In April this year, ED attached his properties in the 1,034 crore land scam case. Sanjay Raut and wife Varsha Raut's Alibag plot and a flat in Mumbai's Dadar were among the properties attached. The probe agency claims that Raut's wife Varsha, family members and associates in an arm of construction major HDIL connived and sold state housing body plots and floor space to private developers. ED says the private developers illegally sold the flats to buyers and total proceeds of the crime amounts to nearly 1,034 crore. The Sena rebels and the BJP justified the penal action.
उनके पास तो एक ही रास्ता है, जब भी कुछ भी हो जाए तो उंगली या तो केंद्र सरकार की ओर करे या हमारे नेताओं की ओर करे। तो ये बचपना छोड़ दें, वे आत्मचिंतन करें, और ये उनके दल का अपना निजी मामला है। निजी मामले में वे अपने परिवार में उस मामले को निपटे, हमारा उस मामले से कोई लेना देना नहीं है।
It's not just Sanjay Raut who's facing ED heat. 3 senior Aghadi ministers, Anil Deshmukh, Nawab Malik and Anil Parab are facing scam heat and fire over underworld links. With Munish Pandey, Bureau Report, India Today.
We're slipping into a very short commercial break. When we return, the Maha suspense over the Maha Aghadi Sarkar. Pressure on Uddhav Thackeray to step down as the floor test looks all but certain now.
Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye. Unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% pure prime time. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV.
You are watching
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye. Unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today.
All right, after suffering a major setback in the Supreme Court, India today has decoded all the possible scenarios of what could pan out in Maharashtra political crisis. And this is a very interesting part because on everyone's mind is what is going to pan out as far as this scenario is concerned. The governor probably can take a suo motu cognizance and call the Mahavikas Aghadi government for a floor test to prove their majority. So will the governor take a suo motu cognizance? All eyes are now on Bhagat Singh Koshyari as well. If the 49 MLAs who Shinde claims are with him abstains from voting in the floor test, please make no mistake about this. This is going to be advantageous only and only to the Bharatiya Janata Party. The BJP has 104 lawmakers, please understand, in this Maharashtra Assembly, and it is also claimed to have gotten the support of some independent MLAs too. And hence we say this is going to be advantage BJP if the Shinde camp abstains from voting, just in case the floor test is called upon. Now this is at a time when the disqualification power of the Maharashtra Deputy Speaker has been put on hold by the Supreme Court. So that's a very, very important point as well. The Shiv Sena has already removed Eknath Shinde as their legislative party leader, recognized Ajay Chaudhary as CLP leader. Shinde camp has called the move illegal as it is claimed to have support of 49 MLAs. Now with each passing second, minute, hour, the suspense is mounting over the Aghadi Sarkar. Is the floor test inevitable now? That's the big question. Paras Dama is now joining us live from Mumbai, getting us all the very latest details. Paras, we've been questioning whether the floor test is inevitable and the governor can go ahead and take a suo motu cognizance and call for a floor test as well. But can they actually challenge the deputy speaker's position and still ask for the floor test? Because, you know, that part is a little in the grey area as far as the deputy speaker is concerned. What are you picking up on the legality of this?
So this is some of the most technical point which is there right now, because Bhagat Singh Koshyari can suo motu and then he can ask for the floor test, which is the major point right now. But Deputy Speaker point is also in a grey part right now. What will happen, because respected Supreme Court has said on this, so process will go on a longer part for some days, but floor test is very important. If floor test doesn't happen, this MBA government will be in middle of a very difficult situation right now, because in Maharashtra there is a situation where Sarkar is in a very terrible position. So if you want to run a state, you need a very stable thing. So floor test is very important, because on other hand, Shinde have a majority right now. Shinde has numbers on his side. So if Bhagat Singh Koshyari takes suo motu and asks for the floor test, this is the major point which can happen. This is the major scenario and important scenario which can happen. And if we talk about the deputy speaker thing, it's little in a grey part, and it's very difficult to say right now what will happen, because process can take a long way to complete. So floor test is very important right now. 7-8 days have passed. Floor test will be very important thing as the situation in Maharashtra right now. So floor test will be very important.
Absolutely. All eyes are going to be on whether the governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari does end up taking the floor test or not. Paras, I request you to stay on with us because you're getting us second by second updates. Now, let me bring our viewers up to speed with the Maharashtra political crisis and what next as far as this crisis is concerned. Let's bring that up on your screens right now. What are the possibilities? Number one, the governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari may take suo motu cognizance and call for a floor test. That's what we're picking up from sources at this point of time. Point number two, what can happen next? Sources are indicating that the rebels can abstain from voting to help the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, in this particular case, it's going to get very, very interesting. Then, what sources have also indicated is there's no need for Eknath Shinde to merge with any political party, and we will expand on this further with our reporters as well. Breaking news coming in the meanwhile, we are cutting straight across to it. The Raj Bhavan Secretariat has asked the state government to give details of the files and proposals cleared on June 22nd, 23rd and 24th. The direction is coming amidst allegations following the rebellion of Shiv Sena MLAs. A number of files were cleared and government resolutions issued in a hurry in Mantralaya. Earlier, Praveen Darekar, BJP leader and leader of opposition in Legislative Council had written to the Raj Bhavan complaining that despite political uncertainty, many decisions are being made and so he should be taking cognizance of this. I want to bring in Sahil Joshi, if he can join us on this particular story. He is our bureau chief who will be able to give us a better perspective on this particular development that is coming in right now. But the big breaking on your screens, Governor has asked the Uddhav government to explain right now, because remember, as I mentioned earlier, Praveen Darekar, the BJP leader and the leader of opposition in the Legislative Council, wrote to the Raj Bhavan complaining that despite political uncertainty, many decisions are being made, so he should be taking cognizance of this particular development. Let's find out what really happens, because the Raj Bhavan Secretariat has asked the state government to give the details of all those proposals that have been cleared. So the dates mentioned of the proposal are June 22nd, 23rd and 24th, when this entire story broke out. For the benefit of our viewers, it's been 10 days now, so that's when, in the middle of when this entire story broke out. The direction is coming amidst the allegations that following the rebellion of the Shiv Sena MLAs, which is the Shinde camp MLAs, a number of files were cleared and government resolutions were issued in a haste in Mantralaya. Ritvik Bhalekar is now joining us live. Ritvik, give us a little bit of perspective. 22nd, 23rd and 24th, some proposals and resolutions have been issued in a haste. Now, you've got the BJP, that is Praveen Darekar, the leader of opposition in Legislative Council, writing to the governor to take cognizance of this because there is political uncertainty. But just for the benefit of our viewers and for the layman, please explain, how does this work? The government is still in power and they can definitely pass these decisions till they are in power, correct? Despite the political uncertainty that prevails, or is it that they should have waited till there is clarity?
Amid this political surprise, Shati, the political crisis, it is very surprising that within these 3 days, hundreds of GRs has been issued by Maharashtra government and in all the departments. Obviously, there is some doubt about these decisions which are taken in so hurry, and that's the reason Governor B.S. Koshyari's Secretariat has written to Chief Secretary of Maharashtra, Manu Kumar Srivastav. He has sought all the details of all the files and proposals which are cleared in these 3 days, that is from 22nd of June to 24th of June. This government, which was sitting on so many proposals since last 2.5 years, these all proposals were cleared in a day. So obviously it raises some doubt, and now additional Secretary of Maharashtra government is collecting the data to give the details to Secretariat of Governor. And what is learned, what is reported is that there are some IAS officers, the secretaries, which have not turned up to the Mantralaya because they just don't want to be the part of this decision making. They are staying aloof, they are staying away from it. Yes.
All right, Ritvik, thanks so much for joining us with the very latest details right there. After 10 whole days of high-voltage political drama, the advantage is with the Shinde camp at the moment, or it seems so. With 39 MLAs with Shinde, the numbers are in the favor of the rebels. On Monday, the Supreme Court also extended the deadline for the rebels to respond to the disqualification notice. Now, what remains to be seen, viewers, is whether the Shinde camp demands a floor test or not. The governor also, which is Bhagat Singh Koshyari, can also go ahead and take a suo motu cognizance of the situation and also call for a floor test in Maharashtra Assembly. Now, the Shinde camp might just withdraw support from the Mahavikas Aghadi government. It can also approach the governor with the numbers. That is, Shinde camp can go to the governor showing the numbers, take claim on the Shiv Sena and support the Bharatiya Janata Party to form a government. And the suspense continues to loom large after Supreme Court's relief to the Eknath Shinde faction. According to sources, the rebels have extended their stay in Guwahati till 5th of July, assuming that this is going to be a long haul and a long battle for the Game of Thrones Maharashtra. Let's watch the special report to understand the complete lay of the land.
Time is running short for Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. His last bid to take control of the situation has been stopped dead in tracks by the Supreme Court. The top court has extended the deadline to respond to the disqualification notice served to rebel MLAs. The Shinde camp now has got a strategic edge, raising suspense over their next move. The possibility of the Shinde camp approaching the governor is slim. Sources tell India Today that the rebel MLAs have already extended their stay in Guwahati till July 5th. Sources say the BJP too is unlikely to approach the governor. According to the sources, a small party from the state could approach the Raj Bhavan. The possibility of Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari calling for a floor test on his own is also not ruled out.
There are two ways. Either we'll have to go, otherwise, as a tradition, they will have to admit that they don't have the number, they should step down, and then we will form our government. If they don't do that within next 1 or 2 days, then we'll think about our strategy.
The Shinde camp is hopeful that Uddhav will step down as the chief minister. If the Uddhav government falls, the BJP is likely to stake claim, as with 106 MLAs. It is the largest party in the state. The Maharashtra political turmoil has continued for 10 days, and it does not seem to be ending anytime soon. Bureau Report, India Today.
In a big move, the BJP broke its silence on raging Maharashtra political turbulence. Even a slew of meetings took place last evening at the leader of opposition Devendra Fadnavis's residence, while the Uddhav faction continues to fight back. Now, we've got more details in the next report in terms of what happened at Devendra Fadnavis's house.
Back-to-back MLAs joining rebel clan. And now a major setback from the Supreme Court. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray is losing on many fronts. As the political crisis intensifies and Mahavikas Aghadi teeters on the brink of collapse, the Bharatiya Janata Party has dropped a big hint.
अभी तो ये मांग श्री एकनाथ शिंदे जी के गट की ओर से की गई है, हमने उस पे भी ध्यान दिया है और आने वाले दिनों में जैसा मैंने कहा, जैसे जैसे गटों की ओर से प्रस्ताव आएंगे, उस प्रस्ताव के बाद फिर कोर टीम बैठकर उचित निर्णय करेगी.
The BJP broke its silence on the power tussle even as a slew of meetings took place on Monday night at the leader of the opposition, Devendra Fadnavis's house. Team Uddhav, however, is putting up a brave front. Uddhav's son and the only Sena MLA in the cabinet to stick to him, Aditya Thackeray, has dared rebel MLAs and their chief Eknath Shinde to a floor test.
If they're truly courageous and rebellious, come here, resign from your posts, have the courage to stand for elections in front of us, and then we'll see.
Shiv Sena allied Congress, so far a mute spectator, has jumped to Uddhav's defense.
हमारे पास मेजॉरिटी है, वहाँ के भी होने के बाद भी मेजॉरिटी हमारे पास है. जिस तरह से एमएलएस को ले जाकर बेहोशी का इंजेक्शन दिया जा रहा है, उनको मारा जा रहा है, ये भी बात छुपी नहीं है. और 50 करोड़ रुपए एक एमएलए को देने की बात भी जो उनके तरफ से आ रही है, तो ये जो घोड़े बाजार जो चल रहा है, इसके पर भी हमारा ध्यान है और हम भी कोर्ट में जाएंगे और कोर्ट से हमको जस्टिस मिलेगा.
Sources tell India Today that Eknath Shinde, who is camping with nearly 50 legislators, including independents, in Guwahati, has already met Devendra Fadnavis in Vadodara on June 25th. The question now is, will the Shinde Sena move in for the kill? Bureau Report, India Today.
India Today's Kamlesh Sutar was in conversation with leader of opposition Devendra Fadnavis last year in November. The interview shows how Devendra was asked if the BJP got Shinde Scindia in the Madhya Pradesh. There would be another Shinde. Whether is he in sight in Maharashtra or not? Listen in to understand what I'm talking to you about.
असं मध्य प्रदेशमध्ये शिंदे सापडले म्हणजे ज्योतिरादित्य शिंदे सापडले महाराष्ट्रात कोणी असं
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाही
शिंदेच्या टप्प्यात कोणी आहे का असं
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाहीत चर्चेत असलेले म्हणजे जे आता एक निवडणूक हारलेले शिंदे शिवसेनेतले शिंदे अजून काँग्रेसमध्ये आता कोणी
This video will want you to shake your leg. This morning on your screen, it is an IS officer and Hubli Dharwad Municipal Corporation Commissioner B. Gopalakrishna who is dancing to a popular Kannada song at a cultural event. He looks ecstatic, joyful while enjoying the groove. If this doesn't make you get up and dance, nothing really will. We will leave you with this rejuvenating visuals that are coming up.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today. You are watching India Today.
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today. India Today Group wins big again. Bags 37 awards at the NT Awards 2022. Aaj Tak triumphs with 18 awards. India Today TV with 12 awards. Aajtak.in and IndiaToday.in with 5 awards. And Good News Today with 2 awards. Making the group proud once again. India Today Group, the gold standard of journalism.
Presented by Berger Easy Clean. No dag, no dhabba, only beautiful walls.
Breaking news coming in. One more MLA likely to join the Shinde rank today. So that's the breaking story coming in on your screens right now. Shinde Sena getting bigger. One more MLA likely to jump ship, go to that particular camp. And the numbers seem to be changing now. We'll bring you the complete numbers again because there's one more MLA who's jumped ship and likely to jump ship rather and join the Eknath Shinde camp. It's a setback definitely coming into Uddhav Sena. So Eknath Shinde Sena getting bigger. One more MLA going ahead and jumping ship likely, in the Eknath Shinde camp. We'll get you more details as far as the final numbers are concerned and what they really look like and whether there would be more to go ahead and join the Eknath Shinde camp and how this is all going to pan out. This is getting very, very interesting. We'll get our reporters also to bring you up to speed with the latest source-based development that we're breaking right now. For the moment, we don't have the name of which exactly MLA is going to be joining. All right, Pauline Sao breaks the story first on India Today with exclusive inside details is now joining us. Very good morning, Pauline. You're breaking the story about one more MLA likely to join Eknath Shinde rank today. Do we have the name with us?
No, Chaiti, good morning to you. We don't have the name because remember there have been a couple of names that have done the rounds. Couple of them have in fact denied it. Of course, we're not taking any of the denials at face value because we saw the denials from Uday Samant as well, and well, he's right behind me inside Hotel Radisson Blue. But what we're being told is that one more Shiv Sena MLA, mostly from the Sena itself, is likely to join the ranks of the Eknath Shinde camp. This, of course, was something which was in fact told to us exclusively yesterday by Deepak Kesarkar, who is the rebel MLA and also now the anointed spokesperson of the Eknath Shinde camp. He, in fact, when he spoke to us, was claiming that there will be one or two more MLAs that he thinks will be joining the Eknath Shinde camp. Of course, saying that the total numbers could swell to even 53. But that I feel is the little unrealistic figure at the moment as I see it, because it stands at about 48 at the moment. But yes, they have claimed that more MLAs will be joining them, and what we're learning from our sources, top sources, is that one more MLA is likely to reach Guwahati today.
All right, Pauline, this is a very big development and we will keep coming back to you for more on all these developments coming in from Guwahati, from the Eknath Shinde camp, all the inside story, every twist, every turn. We've got more breaking news coming in. But, unfortunately, I'm compelled to take a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. In just moments from now, I'm bringing you the latest big breaking news that is coming in. Stay with us on India Today.
By Berger Easy Clean. No dag, no dhabba, only beautiful walls. Co-powered by Philips Beard Trimmer. Adapts to you. In association with Valvoline, the original engine oil.
Very good morning. You're watching The Burning Question with me, Chaiti Narula. And over the course of the next half an hour, my colleague Maushami is going to be bringing you every twist and turn from the Maharashtra political crisis straight from Mumbai. But first up, let's begin with the headlines. Maha suspense over Aghadi Sarkar. Pressure on Uddhav Thackeray to step down as the floor test looks all but certain this time around. Is this endgame for Uddhav Thackeray, or does he still have final roll of dice left? Numbers with the Shinde Sena now. Will they move ahead for the kill and pull the plug on Maha Vikas Aghadi government? All eyes on who approaches the governor. BJP drops a big bombshell on the Maharashtra crisis. Eyes tie up with Shinde Sena to form the government. Fadnavis holds hectic parleys. Ashok Gehlot versus Sachin Pilot war reignites. Rajasthan Chief Minister takes a jibe at Sachin Pilot, claiming he conspired with the BJP to topple the Congress government. Pilot hits back, says he does not even pay heed to what Gehlot says. Huge breaking development coming in on this story, and to walk you through all those developments and every minute twist and turn, Maushami Singh is going to be joining you for this broadcast to take you through all the latest developments. Maushami, many questions on people's minds on what will the governor do next? What will the Shinde camp do next? Does Uddhav have any kind of trump card left now? Over to you to walk our viewers with the latest. Take it away, Maushami.
Thank you, Chaiti. Welcome viewers to this very special broadcast from the mesmerizing city of Mumbai. I'm literally being blown away by the wind because the monsoons have set in and Mumbai is absolutely majestic and mesmerizing. It is this maximum city, but politics in a state of turmoil here, and it's turned into a minefield. The big breaking that is coming is that the Uddhav government has been on an overdrive, clearing file overdrive. The Raj Bhavan Secretariat has asked the state government to give details of the files and the proposals that are being cleared and have been cleared in the past on June 22nd, 23rd and 24th. The direction comes amid allegations that following the rebellion of the Shiv Sena MLAs, a number of files were cleared and the government resolutions issued in a hurry in the Mantralaya. Importantly, earlier, Praveen Darekar, the BJP leader, of the opposition, had alleged and written to the Raj Bhavan and had complained, in fact, that despite political uncertainty, many decisions were being taken by the government, and so the governor should take cognizance of it. Remember, the governor was indisposed and he's back in action. Let's get a reporter live on that. All right, we have a reporter live on that, and let's take an update from him. What is the update regarding this? Perhaps politics in full swing and the ball in the court of the governor. Okay, Ritik Bhalikar is there. Ritik brought us this breaking news. Ritik, what is the update? The governor apparently taking a stock taking of the files cleared.
Yes, absolutely. What is we are learning now is that between June 20 to 23rd, the department has issued as many as 182 government resolutions, while on June 17 they passed 107 such GRs worth crores of rupees. The funds has been released, the directions has been given, and there were many files and many proposals on which government were sitting on. for last few years, for like 2.5 years. But we're in too much of hurry. We are seeing that in several past days, these government resolutions, hundreds of government resolutions are being directed, are being released, and there's some kind of a hurry in government to take decisions. Now, this really raises some serious doubts, because some of the bureaucrats are telling us that even IAS officers who are related to this department where these decisions are taken are staying away from Mantralaya, the administrative building where the whole procedure is going on. They are not coming to their office, they are not joining the work, but at the same time the decisions are being taken from whom's directions. So that's the real question. And we've also learned from Praveen
Ritik, a quick question.
Leader of opposition, his office.
Ritik, just a quick question. What you are elaborating, that means are the officers, have they already smelled the coffee?
Yes, absolutely. We can say that because they don't want to be part of any controversy which is going to erupt in coming days. Because once, now we can see it is very evident that Uddhav camp is having no numbers. Eknath Shinde has already prepared themselves to support or to take out the support from the government. Any soon we can see that things happening over few days, and if government collapses and if new government comes in, any of the bureaucrat doesn't want to get embroiled in any kind of controversy, any kind of corruption. They don't want any charges to be levied on them. And maybe that's the reason the top bureaucrats, the IAS officers, the secretaries who are related to this department are staying away from it.
All right, thank you, Ritik. Remember, India Today has the largest team of reporters that is working overtime to get you all the big breakings. Yet another breaking coming on the Shinde camp. We do believe, our reporter tells us that the Shinde Sena is actually undecided over approaching the governor. All eyes on Maharashtra governor, the next move. Importantly, will Governor Koshyari order the floor test next? Because the Shinde Sena seems to be undecided. It is an India Today mega scoop from the Shinde Sena. Will BJP or smaller parties approach the governor? That's the scoop that we are getting, and my colleague Polami Saha, who's tracking all the developments in Guwahati, is right there with me. Polami, bring us up to speed with what is happening in the Shinde camp. A shift in strategy, perhaps they have read between the lines as far as the order is concerned and how they've been put in a state of limbo till the 11th of July. Polami, can you hear me? This is a big scoop that you've got for us from Guwahati. What is the latest development? And in fact, it seems that there's a shift in strategy as far as the Shinde Sena is concerned. All right, now remember that the Shinde camp was absolutely aggressive over the entire matter after the Uddhav camp came on the front foot, and Eknath Shinde, his camp has been claiming that they have more than 2/3 of the majority. So clearly, after the Supreme Court order, one had expected that perhaps the Shinde Sena could approach the governor. But our colleague Polami, she is getting us this news that the Shinde camp is reluctant. What is the reason for their reluctance? That's a big question, because remember, this battle is being fought in the court of law. In the highest court of India, the Supreme Court has put the next date of hearing to 11th of July. Politics, twists and turns, coming in every day, every minute, and Polemy tracking all the developments in Guwahati, getting us this big breaking. Polemy, bring us the details of this entire scoop that you've got from Guwahati. Which one? All right, so that's the news that's coming in from Guwahati. We are in Mumbai. Remember that Mumbai has been the hotspot as far as the entire tussle is concerned. Every time the rebel camps are being invited by the Uddhav Sena. But the other big news that's coming in is that the floor test is inevitable. Importantly, after suffering a major setback in the Supreme Court, India today decodes all the possible scenarios of the Maharashtra political crisis. The governor can take suo moto cognizance and call the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government for a floor test to prove their majority. Importantly, if the 49 MLAs who Shinde camp claims are with him abstains from voting in the floor test, remember, abstains from voting, it would advantage the Bharatiya Janata Party. The BJP has 104 lawmakers in the Maharashtra Assembly, and it is also claimed to have gotten the support of some independent MLAs. That really adds a lot of twist to the entire story. This comes at a time when the disqualification power of the Maharashtra Deputy Speaker has been put on hold by the Supreme Court. The Shiv Sena has already removed Shinde as the Legislative Party leader and recognized Ajay Chaudhary as the CLP leader. Shinde camp has called the move illegal as it claimed to have the support of 49 MLAs. With each passing hour, the suspense mounts over Aghadi Sarkar. Is the floor test inevitable now? That's the big question. Okay, I have to really jump. The other big breaking that's coming is one more Sena MLA. It's been trickling in, raining trouble for the Uddhav Sena. So one more Sena MLA likely to join the Shinde camp. That's the breaking that we are getting from the Shinde faction. Remember that many MLAs joined the Shinde camp later, and this breaking that this after many of the Uddhav camp loyalists joined the Shinde Sena. So one more MLA comes right after the Supreme Court has also outlined the timeline for this entire discussion. Polemy is there in Guwahati with us, and Polemy, give us the details of one more MLA. Which is this MLA who's planning to join the Shinde camp?
Well, Mosby, we're still trying to confirm the name of the MLA at the moment. Remember that a couple of names, in fact, have been doing the rounds since the past couple of days, as they could be possibly joining the Eknath Shinde ranks as well. This after Uday Samant was the last MLA to, in fact, arrive at Hotel Radisson Blu 2 days ago. There is, of course, news now coming in that one more MLA could, in fact, be joining the ranks of Eknath Shinde in Guwahati today. Remember, this is what Deepak Kesarkar has in fact claimed in exclusive conversations with India Today as well. In fact, yesterday when I was listening to him as well, he did say that 1 or 2 more MLAs are expected to join the Eknath Shinde camp, and the numbers are going to swell. He has been, of course, giving figures of the total figures of about 51, 53 as well. Currently, it stands at 48. It possibly could reach 50 by the end of this entire, pot boiler, by the time the Eknath Shinde camp, in fact, takes claim to, in fact, join hands with the Bharatiya Janata Party in all likelihood to form the next government of Maharashtra. But at the moment, what we can confirm, Mosmi, is that one more MLA is likely to reach Guwahati today. We'll, of course, come back to our viewers with further details on who that could be and from which faction in terms of where he's coming from, whether the Shiv Sena or otherwise an independent or otherwise. We'll get all of those details later today. Mosmi.
All right, Polemy, thank you so much. Polemy, give us the details of one more MLA. Which is this MLA who's planning to join the Shinde camp?
Well, Mosmi, So that is the information that we're getting right now. The information that's coming in, of course, is that one more MLA is likely to arrive in Guwahati today at Hotel Radisson Blu. Remember, the ranks of the Shiv Sena currently stand at 39 in Radisson Blu and 9 more independents, which includes 2 members of the Prahar Jan Shakti Party. Yesterday, it was a big win for the Eknath Shinde camp because the Supreme Court, for one, put aside and put a stay for the moment, an interim stay at that, on the disqualification proceedings against 16 rebel MLAs till the 11th of July. It has sought written affidavits from all of these respondents in the case, including the Maharashtra government, including the Deputy Speaker's office, Sunil Prabhu, Ajay Chaudhary, who has been appointed leader of the Legislative Party. Everyone has been asked to respond to the Supreme Court in an affidavit form within the next 5 days. And as far as Eknath Shinde camp is concerned, it is to be, in fact, submitted within 3 days' time. They have to, of course, send in a written affidavit as well. And the timeline, which was, in fact, there was a deadline given to these rebel MLAs, the 16 rebel MLAs who had received disqualification notices and subsequent summons were issued to them by the Deputy Speaker's office on the 25th of June. They had been given time by the Deputy Speaker's office till yesterday, till Monday 5:30 p.m. to respond to the same. But after the Supreme Court's order that came in before that deadline came to an end, that timeline has been extended till, of course, the 11th of July, 5:30 p.m. So giving them some amount of breather, a window to take their next course of action. And what we're learning is that the Eknath Shinde camp, in a few days from now, possibly within the next 48 hours itself, could possibly approach Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari in order to withdraw their support to the Maha Vikas Aghadi government. But all of that is being planned very meticulously because there are a lot of legal nuances to this as well. Now, the Eknath Shinde camp will not want to do anything which is considered to be anti-party by the law because they still are part of the Shiv Sena Legislative Party. So they don't want to do anything which will, in fact, attract any sort of action against them, which will, in fact, make grounds for their possible disqualification, because that was the only hurdle in their way.
Stay on with us. I want all the battery of reporters to stay on with us from the length and breadth of the country, from Guwahati to Mumbai to Delhi to all the places where all the action is taking place. Look, the suspense continues to loom. This is happening after Supreme Court's relief to the Shinde faction. According to sources, the rebels have extended their stay in Guwahati till the 5th of July, assuming that this will be a long battle for the Game of Thrones Maharashtra. Take a look at the lay of the land.
Time is running short for Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. His last bid to take control of the situation has been stopped dead in tracks by the Supreme Court. The top court has extended the deadline to respond to the disqualification notice served to rebel MLAs. The Shinde camp now has got a strategic edge, raising suspense over their next move. The possibility of the Shinde camp approaching the governor is slim. Sources tell India Today that the rebel MLAs have already extended their stay in Guwahati till July 5th. Sources say the BJP too is unlikely to approach the governor. According to the sources, a small party from the state could approach the Raj Bhavan. The possibility of Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari calling for a floor test on his own is also not ruled out.
There are two ways. Either we'll have to go, otherwise, as a tradition, they will have to admit that they don't have the number, they should step down, and then we will form our government. If they don't do that within next 1 or 2 days, then we'll think about our strategy.
The Shinde camp is hopeful that Uddhav will step down as the chief minister. If the Uddhav government falls, the BJP is likely to stake claim. As with 106 MLAs, it is the largest party in the state. The Maharashtra political turmoil has continued for 10 days. and it does not seem to be ending anytime soon. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, viewers, remember that the BJP has been very tight-lipped over the entire row. But in a big shift of strategy, BJP actually broke its silence over the entire Maharashtra political turbulence. Even as a slew of meetings took place last night at the leader of opposition, Devendra Fadnavis' house, while the Uddhav faction continued to fight back with Aditya Thackeray, the only remaining MLA supporting Uddhav. More details in this next report.
Back-to-back MLAs joining rebel clan. And now a major setback from the Supreme Court. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray is losing on many fronts as the political crisis intensifies and Mahavikas Aghadi teeters on the brink of collapse. The Bharatiya Janata Party has dropped a big hint.
अभी तो ये मांग श्री एकनाथ शिंदे जी के गट की ओर से की गई है। हमने उस पे भी ध्यान दिया है और आने वाले दिनों में जैसा मैंने कहा, जैसे जैसे गटों की ओर से प्रस्ताव आएंगे, उस प्रस्ताव के बाद फिर कोर टीम बैठकर उचित निर्णय करेगी।
The BJP broke its silence on the power tussle even as a slew of meetings took place on Monday night at the leader of the opposition, Devendra Fadnavis' house. Team Uddhav, however, is putting up a brave front. Uddhav's son and the only Sena MLA in the cabinet to stick to him, Aditya Thackeray, has dared rebel MLAs and their chief Eknath Shinde to a floor test.
If they're truly courageous and rebellious, come here, resign from your posts, have the courage to stand for elections in front of us, and then we'll see.
Shiv Sena allied Congress, so far a mute spectator, has jumped to Uddhav's defense.
हमारे पास मेजॉरिटी है, वहाँ के भी होने के बाद भी मेजॉरिटी हमारे पास है। जिस तरह से एमएलएस को ले जाकर बेहोशी का इंजेक्शन दिया जा रहा है, उनको मारा जा रहा है, ये भी बात छुपी नहीं है। और 50 करोड़ रुपए एक एमएलए को देने की बात भी जो उनके तरफ से आ रही है, तो ये जो घोड़े बाजार जो चल रहा है, इसके पर भी हमारा ध्यान है और हम भी कोर्ट में जाएंगे और कोर्ट से हमको जस्टिस मिलेगा।
Sources tell India Today that Eknath Shinde, who is camping with nearly 50 legislators, including independents, in Guwahati, has already met Devendra Fadnavis in Vadodara on June 25th. The question now is, will the Shinde Sena move in for the kill? Bureau Report, India Today.
Now remember, viewers, that Devendra Fadnavis, the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, is a key player in this entire turbulence that's happening. India Today's Kamlesh Sutar was in conversation with Devendra Fadnavis last year, and when he was asked whether the BJP was eyeing another Shinde in MP, like an MP, then he responded to that question by just laughing it away. Hear this conversation that took place in last year, 2021.
मध्य प्रदेशमध्ये शिंदे सापडले, म्हणजे ज्योतिरादित्य शिंदे सापडले. महाराष्ट्रात कोणी असं
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाही.
असं कोणी आहे का? असं शिंदेच्या टप्प्यात कोणी आहे का?
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाहीत. चर्चेत असलेले म्हणजे जे आता एक निवडणूक हारलेले शिंदे, शिवसेनेतले शिंदे, अजून काँग्रेसमध्ये आता कोणी
असं मध्य प्रदेशमध्ये शिंदे सापडले, म्हणजे ज्योतिरादित्य शिंदे सापडले. महाराष्ट्रात कोणी असं
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाहीत.
असं कोणी आहे का? असं शिंदेच्या टप्प्यात कोणी आहे का?
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाहीत. चर्चेत असलेले म्हणजे जे आता एक निवडणूक हारलेले शिंदे, शिवसेनेतले शिंदे, अजून काँग्रेसमध्ये आता कोणी
Now, big breaking is coming from Mumbai, where we are, viewers. The Uddhav government crisis, government in a mess, raging political fight, crumbling infrastructure, four-story building collapses in Mumbai. What we hear is that 1 dead, 11 are injured, and we fear that several are trapped in a multi-story building that has collapsed. It is the monsoon season. Remember, the government, more than half the ministers are sitting in Guwahati. It is a sort of paralysis of the government. Our reporter is bringing you these latest details. Almost 1 dead, 11 injured, and several, we fear, viewers, are trapped in the debris. Dave Kotak, our reporter, would be joining us live for the latest updates. But the news that is pouring in is that a multi-storied building has collapsed in Mumbai, and apparently that's been one of the that has been one of the infrastructure woes in this city. It is a city of multi-story buildings, skyscrapers. Apparently, a building has collapsed. We will be joined by one of our reporters, Dave Kotak, who will be joining us live. Dave Kotak, what is the update as far as the building collapse is concerned? Is the rescue work on? We believe that several are trapped still.
Yes, like you mentioned, one person has died. It was a 4-storied building. The incident took place last night between 12 and 12:30 a.m. Also, there are several teams of the NDRF who are helping out with the rescue work, and in fact the locals and the area residents did a fantastic job. Before the fire brigade and the police teams came in, they began rescuing a few people by themselves. So about 5 to 6 people were pulled out of the debris at that very time itself. And despite their stellar efforts, Mumbai Fire Brigade officials and NDRF seniors have confirmed to us that close to 24 people are still feared trapped under this debris. Most of them were taken to Sion Hospital. Some of them have even suffered grievous injuries, and they are being treated for it at the moment. But, and also Mumbai Fire Brigade declares this as a level 3 incident. And when you have something like level 3, it of course speaks of the intensity of the kind of incident that took place. In fact, Aditya Thackeray had also visited the site in this building in Kurla. He had said that several notices were also served to the residents asking them to vacate, but they continued to ignore those 3 to 4 notices and continued to remain. So inside this society where the collapse incident took place, one entire wing sort of collapsed, and the building was already in a dilapidated condition. So right now rescue work is underway, and several teams of the NDRF are also present out there. The operation is expected to still last a couple of more hours. So these are the kind of primary details that we are getting in at this point in time.
Thank you, Dave, for that update. We do have a reaction of Aditya Thackeray on the debris collapse of the multi-story building. Let's hear that out.
मुझे लगता है 5 लोग यहाँ से निकाले गए हैं और हॉस्पिटल लेके गए हैं। चारों बिल्डिंग्स को नोटिस तो दी थी, लेकिन कई सारे लोग वहाँ रहते हैं अभी भी। पहला हमारा प्रायोरिटी यही था कि अंदर कोई ना फंसे, उनको निकालें और कल सुबह बैठ के ये बिल्डिंग जो है उनको खाली कैसे कर सके और डिमोलिश कैसे कर सके, ताकि आजू बाजू के लोगों को कोई दिक्कत ना हो।
सर, पूरे मुंबई में ऐसी कई इमारतें हैं जो कहीं ना कहीं से अब बिल्कुल जमींदोज होने की कगार पर हैं, कैसे एक्शन लेंगे इन पर?
पहली बात यही है कि जब भी बीएमसी नोटिस देते हैं तो खुद से खाली हो जाए, क्योंकि नहीं तो ऐसी घटनाएं घटती है। ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, लेकिन अभी हमें कुछ ना कुछ एक्शन इस पे लेना जरूरी होगा।
Now, coming back to the politics of this entire state, because on one hand, infrastructure, functioning of the government is suffering. On the other hand, politics is in full swing. Now, yesterday, the Supreme Court gave a relief to the Shinde camp. after the court verdict, the Shinde camp really feels that this is actually a booster for them. They're quite upbeat about the verdict that has come as far as, the next hearing being fixed to 11th of January. The top court, after extending the deadline for the 16 rebel MLAs to reply for the disqualification notices. Meanwhile, the political battle is playing out on full swing on the streets. We've seen the Eknath Shinde camp, his son, taking out a mega show of strength in Thane. We've seen Uddhav and Aditya Thackeray, making a pitch for the Shiv Sena workers. So let's see in this next package how the politics is rolling out not only in the courts but also on the streets.
From resorts in Guwahati to the Mantralaya and Raj Bhavan in Mumbai to the Supreme Court in Delhi, the battle for power in Maharashtra is being fought on many fronts. The man in the eye of the storm, CM Uddhav Thackeray, suffered a blow on Monday. The Supreme Court has put on hold the disqualification proceedings against the rebels led by Eknath Shinde. The court has given Shinde and his supporters time till July 11th to reply to the Deputy Speaker's notice. It has also issued notices to the Uddhav government and the Deputy Speaker asking them to submit their replies within 5 days. The court directed the Uddhav government to provide protection to the rebel MLAs and their families. The Uddhav camp is putting up a brave front despite the setback in the court.
फ्लोर टेस्टसाठी ते तयार आहेत की नाही हा पहिला प्रश्न आहे. आमची फ्लोर टेस्ट आम्ही सांगितलेले काय आहे. मला वाटतं एकच आहे, फ्लोर टेस्टपेक्षा जो कोणी पळून गेलेला आहे, काही काही त्याच्यात खरोखर आमचे पण आहेत जे तिथून सतत फोन करतात की आमची सुटका करा, त्यांना फसवलं गेलं आहे, अजूनही ते संपर्कात आहेत. पण ज्यांनी दगाफटका केला त्यांनी डोळ्यात डोळे घालून बोलावं आम्हाला की आम्ही काय चुकीचं केलं. ही माझी त्यांना फ्लोर टेस्ट आहे.
शिंदे जी, उनकी शिवसेना ये मूल शिवसेना है. ये जो उन्होंने कहा है, घोषणा की है, उस विषय में भी मंथन हुआ है कि अभी भी हमने वेट एंड वॉच करते हुए आने वाले दिनों में जैसी परिस्थिति निर्माण होगी फिर से कोर टीम बैठेगी और उचित निर्णय भारतीय जनता पार्टी पूरी साथ में आगे जाएगी.
The war between Shinde Sena and Uddhav Sena is spilling onto streets. From Shinde's stronghold Thane to Kolhapur, supporters of both camps held protests in show of strength. Meanwhile, the Enforcement Directorate has summoned Uddhav's trusted aide Sanjay Raut for questioning in a 1,034 crore land scam case.
देखिए, मेरा आवाज आप बंद नहीं कर सकते. आप ईडी की नोटिस भेज दीजिए या मेरी गर्दन उड़ा दो, मैं गुवाहाटी से रास्ते से नहीं निकलूंगा. जेल जाऊंगा ना, आप मुझे अरेस्ट कर सकते हो. अभी मैं बैठा हूँ शिव सेना भवन में, आप आइए, अरेस्ट करो, मुझे बुलाओ कब आना है, मैं जाऊंगा.
As the fight gets messy, another Thackeray is quietly watching the chaos unfold. The MNS chief has spoken to Shinde, the man behind the storm. With the Supreme Court set to hear the case next on July 11th, is Maharashtra looking at a longer spell of uncertainty, or will Shinde and the BJP go for the kill? Bureau Report, India Today.
Viewers, coming up next is the Maha suspense over the Agadi Sarkar. After the Supreme Court verdict, what's going to happen next on the other side of the break?
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% pure prime time. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV.
Welcome back, viewers, to this special broadcast from Mumbai. We bring you all the twists and turns in this political drama. After suffering a major setback in the Supreme Court, let's decode all the ways possible, all the possibilities as far as the Maharashtra political crisis is concerned. Now remember, first option is that the governor can take suo motu cognizance of this entire turbulence that is happening and call the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi Sarkar for a floor test to prove their majority. The other way is, if the 49 MLAs who Shinde camp claims are with him abstains from voting in the floor test, then, viewers, it could advantage the BJP. The BJP has about 104 lawmakers in the Maharashtra Assembly, and it also claimed to have gotten support of the independent MLAs. So the independent MLAs will play a key role. This comes at a time when the disqualification power of the Maharashtra Deputy Speaker has been put on hold by the Supreme Court. The Shiv Sena has already removed Shinde as the legislative party leader and recognized Ajay Chaudhary as CLP leader. Remember, he's also been issued a notice by the Supreme Court. Shinde camp has also called the move illegal as it claimed to have the support of 49 MLAs. With each passing hour, the suspense mounts over the Aghadi Sarkar. Its floor test. Is the floor test, that's the big question, is the floor test inevitable now? Because 11th July, it's a long time, and this big report, exclusive report, is Paras Dama is there to throw more light on this report. Paras, get us the details of what are the permutations and combinations that can be worked upon. Is the ball really in the governor's court?
Mostly two scenarios are very much clear right now. Bharatiya Janata Party is not going to opt for floor test, nor Eknath Shinde is going to opt for the floor test. But the situation right now, which is in Maharashtra, we can say that the floor test is the most important thing, and a floor test will be the major thing that can change the scenario right now, because our respected Supreme Court, what they said yesterday, there is some relief for Eknath Shinde camp, but the ball is in governor court, because if governor wants, he can call for the floor test, and if he calls for the floor test, it will be very important to see when it will happen, because the situation right now in Maharashtra is very tense, because there is no stable government who can handle the situation. On the other hand, we can see how Shiv Sena is getting break every single day. We can see a new MLAs reaching Guwahati and giving their support to Eknath Shinde camp. So situation is very tense in Maharashtra, and if you want to run a state, you need a stable government to run that. There are another reports also suggest that on 22nd, 23rd and 24th of this month, there was some GR was passed in a hurry. So now governor will be thinking about it to take floor test as soon as possible, because a state should not suffer in this all political circus. Mostly, this is very important. If it will possible, if Bhagat Singh
right,
Koshari
Paras,
thinks
thank you for that.
to take
another
floor test to take soon, they'll do.
Paras, I wanted to ask you another question. What explains the reluctance in the Shinde camp to approach the governor?
So right now, there are so much of situation which are in Maharashtra, because on one hand, BJP has already said they are not going to approach governor on floor test, but Eknath Shinde have numbers, Eknath Shinde have power right now. So some of the situation can take place, but I am still focusing on one thing, Mosmi. The situation in Maharashtra, the government situation in Maharashtra is very tense. So if you want to run a state smoothly, you need a proper thing who can handle a proper government to handle that. So right now, in a way, Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi Sarkar is struggling, so governor can take this call, and this is a major point I am discussing, and I am just focusing on.
Absolutely, Paras. Thank you for all that update. This is very important, what Paras is bringing us, is telling us about. And importantly, as the governor's move will be watched very closely by the political parties. After 10 days of high voltage political drama, the advantage, it is considered, is with the Shinde camp. They're still mum. Haven't made a move to the governor. With 39 MLAs with the Shinde camp, the numbers are in favor of the rebels. On Monday, the Supreme Court also extended the deadline for the rebels to respond to the disqualification notice. Now, what remains to be seen is whether the Shinde camp demand a floor test. The governor can also take suo motu cognizance of the situation and call for a floor test in the Maharashtra Assembly. The Shinde camp might withdraw support from the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government. That's also an option. Remember, viewers, that will be advantage the BJP. It can also approach the governor with the numbers, stake claim on Shiv Sena and support BJP from outside. All those scenarios can play out. Let's watch the details in this next package.
Back-to-back MLAs joining rebel clan. And now a major setback from the Supreme Court. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray is losing on many fronts as the political crisis intensifies and Mahavikas Aghadi teeters on the brink of collapse. The Bharatiya Janata Party has dropped a big hint.
अभी तो ये मांग श्री एकनाथ शिंदे जी के गट की ओर से की गई है, हमने उस पे भी ध्यान दिया है, और आने वाले दिनों में जैसा मैंने कहा, जैसे जैसे गटों की ओर से प्रस्ताव आएंगे, उस प्रस्ताव के बाद फिर कोर टीम बैठकर उचित निर्णय करेगी.
The BJP broke its silence on the power tussle even as a slew of meetings took place on Monday night at the leader of the opposition, Devendra Fadnavis's house. Team Uddhav, however, is putting up a brave front. Uddhav's son and the only Sena MLA in the cabinet to stick to him, Aditya Thackeray, has dared rebel MLAs and their chief Eknath Shinde to a floor test.
If they're truly courageous and rebellious, come here, resign from your posts, have the courage to stand for elections in front of us, and then we'll see.
Shiv Sena allied Congress, so far a mute spectator, has jumped to Uddhav's defense.
हमारे पास मेजॉरिटी है, वहाँ के भी होने के बाद भी मेजॉरिटी हमारे पास है। जिस तरह से एमएलएस को ले जाकर बेहोशी का इंजेक्शन दिया जा रहा है, उनको मारा जा रहा है, ये भी बात छुपी नहीं है। और 50 करोड़ रुपए एक एमएलए को देने की बात भी जो उनके तरफ से आ रही है, तो ये जो घोड़े बाजार जो चल रहा है, इसके पर भी हमारा ध्यान है और हम भी कोर्ट में जाएंगे और कोर्ट से हमको जस्टिस मिलेगा।
Sources tell India Today that Eknath Shinde, who is camping with nearly 50 legislators, including independents, in Guwahati, has already met Devendra Fadnavis in Vadodara on June 25th. The question now is, will the Shinde Sena move in for the kill? Bureau Report, India Today.
Viewers, after the Supreme Court said that the next date of hearing is 11th of January, the buzz has grown in the BJP camp. Remember, Devendra Fadnavis is a key player. He's held many meetings. India Today's Kamlesh Sutar had a conversation with Devendra Fadnavis last year, where he asked him about whether there is another Sindhya in Maharashtra, whether another Sindhya could emerge as the kingmaker, and whether he was Eknath Shinde. And Devendra Fadnavis just responded laughingly at that question. Watch this special interview that was taken last year in 2021.
असं मध्य प्रदेशमध्ये शिंदे सापडले, म्हणजे ज्योतिरादित्य शिंदे सापडले. महाराष्ट्रात कोणी असं
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाही.
टप्प्यात कोणी आहे का
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाहीत. चर्चेत असलेले म्हणजे जे आता एक निवडणूक हारलेले शिंदे, शिवसेनेतले शिंदे, अजून काँग्रेसमध्ये आता कोणी
असं मध्य प्रदेशमध्ये शिंदे सापडले, म्हणजे ज्योतिरादित्य शिंदे सापडले. महाराष्ट्रात कोणी असं
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाही.
टप्प्यात कोणी आहे का
असे कुठलेही शिंदे नाहीत. चर्चेत असलेले म्हणजे जे आता एक निवडणूक हारलेले शिंदे, शिवसेनेतले शिंदे, अजून काँग्रेसमध्ये आता कोणी
The suspense continues after the Supreme Court verdict, viewers, because this is a relief to the Shinde camp. We are told that the Shinde camp has extended their stay in Guwahati till the 5th of July. Remember that the Shiv Sena also said that now they can enjoy the tourism of Guwahati till the 11th of July. Assuming that this will be a long battle for Maharashtra, the battle lines are drawn and it's a wait and watch. Watch this special report to see why and what the Maharashtra revolt is all about.
Time is running short for Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. His last bid to take control of the situation has been stopped dead in tracks by the Supreme Court. The top court has extended the deadline to respond to the disqualification notice served to rebel MLAs. The Shinde camp now has got a strategic edge, raising suspense over their next move. The possibility of the Shinde camp approaching the governor is slim. Sources tell India Today that the rebel MLAs have already extended their stay in Guwahati till July 5th. Sources say the BJP too is unlikely to approach the governor. According to the sources, a small party from the state could approach the Raj Bhavan. The possibility of Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari calling for a floor test on his own is also not ruled out.
There are two ways. Either we'll have to go, otherwise, as a tradition, they will have to admit that they don't have the number, they should step down, and then we will form our government. If they don't do that within next 1 or 2 days, then we'll think about our strategy.
The Shinde camp is hopeful that Uddhav will step down as the chief minister. If the Uddhav government falls, the BJP is likely to stake claim, as with 106 MLAs. It is the largest party in the state. The Maharashtra political turmoil has continued for 10 days, and it does not seem to be ending anytime soon. Bureau Report, India Today.
All the way from Mumbai, the Maharashtra political battle has now reached the Supreme Court. And in a sign of relief, the Shinde camp, the 16 rebels, have got time to answer till the 11th of July. But as far as the legal battle is concerned, the political battle is still being fought on ground zero. The battle lines are drawn. Watch this report to see what action unfolded as the Supreme Court decided the date of hearing to 11th of July.
From resorts in Guwahati to the Mantralaya and Raj Bhavan in Mumbai to the Supreme Court in Delhi, the battle for power in Maharashtra is being fought on many fronts. The man in the eye of the storm, CM Uddhav Thackeray, suffered a blow on Monday. The Supreme Court has put on hold the disqualification proceedings against the rebels led by Eknath Shinde. The court has given Shinde and his supporters time till July 11th to reply to the Deputy Speaker's notice. It has also issued notices to the Uddhav government and the Deputy Speaker, asking them to submit their replies within 5 days. The court directed the Uddhav government to provide protection to the rebel MLAs and their families. The Uddhav camp is putting up a brave front despite the setback in the court.
फ्लोर टेस्टसाठी ते तयार आहेत की नाही हा पहिला प्रश्न आहे. आमची फ्लोर टेस्ट आम्ही सांगितलेले काय आहे. मला वाटतं एकच आहे, फ्लोर टेस्टपेक्षा जो कोणी पळून गेलेला आहे, काही काही त्याच्यात खरोखर आमचे पण आहेत जे तिथून सतत फोन करतात की आमची सुटका करा, त्यांना फसवलं गेलं आहे, अजूनही ते संपर्कात आहेत. पण ज्यांनी दगाफटका केला त्यांनी डोळ्यात डोळे घालून बोलावं आम्हाला की आम्ही काय चुकीचं केलं. ही माझी त्यांना फ्लोर टेस्ट आहे.
शिंदे जी, उनकी शिवसेना ये मूल शिवसेना है. ये जो उन्होंने कहा है, घोषणा की है, उस विषय में भी मंथन हुआ है कि अभी भी हमने वेट एंड वॉच करते हुए आने वाले दिनों में जैसी परिस्थिति निर्माण होगी फिर से कोर टीम बैठेगी और उचित निर्णय भारतीय जनता पार्टी पूरी साथ में आगे जाएगी.
The war between Shinde Sena and Uddhav Sena is spilling onto streets. From Shinde's stronghold Thane to Kolhapur, supporters of both camps held protests in show of strength. Meanwhile, the Enforcement Directorate has summoned Uddhav's trusted aide Sanjay Raut for questioning in a 1,034 crore land scam case.
देखिए, मेरा आवाज आप बंद नहीं कर सकते. आप ईडी की नोटिस भेज दीजिए या मेरी गर्दन उड़ा दो, मैं गुवाहाटी से रास्ते से नहीं निकलूंगा. जेल जाऊंगा ना, आप मुझे अरेस्ट कर सकते हो. अभी मैं बैठा हूँ शिव सेना भवन में, आप आइए, अरेस्ट करो, मुझे बुलाओ कब आना है, मैं जाऊंगा.
As the fight gets messy, another Thackeray is quietly watching the chaos unfold. The MNS chief has spoken to Shinde, the man behind the storm. With the Supreme Court set to hear the case next on July 11th, is Maharashtra looking at a longer spell of uncertainty, or will Shinde and the BJP go for the kill? Bureau Report, India Today.
It's a cloudy day today, viewers. I'll get some rain cover, but clouds of trouble also brewing for the Uddhav Sena. Perhaps the clouds being sent from Guwahati. That's all in this special broadcast from me, Mausami. All our reporters are scattered around Mumbai, and we'll be getting you all the action and the latest updates from ground zero. Keep watching India Today for news and updates.
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched time, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday 9 p.m. Only on India Today. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
You are watching India Today.
이번에 김양래 총리소원께서는 장기간에 이제 8기 어처전에서 인민들의 생활상용으로 기준으로 내세우고 생산투쟁을 돌릴 수 있는 이런 가업도 있었습니다. 그래서 우리 공장에서는 인민들이 좋아하는 이런 샴푸, 그다음에
세대 비사망 체계 영업에 소득 사업을 제일 순위에 놓고 진행하고 있습니다. 특히 인민소비품을 생산하는 공장으로서 바닥 소득과 소액 기대들에 대한 소득 사업을 그 어느 때보다 더 강화하고 있습니다.
Presented by Berger Easy Clean. No dog, no dhabba, only beautiful walls.
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched time, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday 9 p.m. Only on India Today.
In association with NetMeds, India की अपनी फार्मेसी, LIC हर पल आपके साथ, Jio Mart हर घर का मार्ट.
Good morning and a warm welcome to India Today. I'm Paulami Saha and we're coming to you live from Hotel Radisson Blu in Guwahati right now. And I'll of course expect my producers to cut the echo in my ears right now because we're getting some breaking at the moment. There's some breaking news that's coming in right now. The fastest updates from the Maharashtra pot boiler. Uddhav's file clearing overdrive under Governor Lenz. One more MLA likely to join the Shinde Sena, and Sena mouthpiece stares into BJP for crisis. All eyes on Maharashtra governor's next move. These are some of the latest updates that we're getting to you on the Maharashtra pot boiler. At the moment, viewers, one of them, of course, being Uddhav's file clearing overdrive under Governor Lenz. Remember that the BJP's Praveen Darekar had written to Governor Bhagat Singh Koshari and said that there seemed to be a lot of GRs or government resolutions that seem to have been passed, state government orders that seem to have been passed within the last few days. He was referring to the dates of 21, 22, 23 June. He complained about the same and asked for the governor to intervene immediately and take cognizance of the matter. He said that the government, which was thrown into a crisis, into a turmoil, was using this as an opportunity, as a window to in fact suddenly clear files and in fact order and make a lot of decisions in the interim period, which he found something to be suspicious about, and he asked the governor to intervene. What we're of course picking up right now is the governor has sought details of the same, of all the files that have been cleared in the past few days since this government was thrown into a crisis, and has asked for the details from the chief secretary, and that report of course is awaited. Also, what we're learning from our sources in Guwahati is that one more MLA is likely to join the Shinde Sena. That's right, viewers, one more MLA could possibly be joining the Eknath Shinde ranks today. We know that the figure of the Shiv Sena, that is with Eknath Shinde, stands at about 39, and there are 9 others, including 2 from the Prahar Jan Shakti Party, who are in fact with Eknath Shinde at Hotel Radisson Blu, having joined his ranks. But we're expecting that those numbers could go up. Yesterday, Deepak Kesarkar, who is of course a rebel MLA and spokesperson now for the Eknath Shinde camp, he of course claimed that there were 1 or 2 more MLAs that who could possibly join, in fact, the Eknath Shinde camp. Many names have done the rounds, one of them also being, very interestingly, that of Sunil Raut, who is brother of Sanjay Raut, but then he's denied those rumors. My colleague Pankaj Upadhyay is now joining me live from Mumbai on this. Pankaj, first of all, the question about the governor seeking a report from the Uddhav Thackeray-led government on the files that they allegedly seem to have been clearing during and in the midst of this crisis, Pankaj.
Good morning, Paulami. So you're right, a lot of developments taking place in Maharashtra. This turmoil is far from over. In the latest development, the Raj Bhavan Secretariat has asked the state government to give them the details of the various decisions, the GRs and the deliberations that have taken place in the last couple of days. And now this, of course, comes after BJP leader Praveen Darekar, who is the leader of opposition in Legislative Council, had complained that the state government, overlooking the current political crisis in the state, was hurrying many decisions, and these very decisions and the clearing of the files and the GRs that have been made are under suspicion, and that the governor should take note of the various clearings. And after that, a note and some files were received by Monday, and now what has happened is that further details have been sought by the governor, and the Raj Bhavan Secretariat on this very account has written to the state government to provide them the details of all the decisions, the deliberations and the GRs that were made in the last couple of days.
Right. Pankaj, stay on with us. In fact, viewers, let's get you some of the details of what is happening. What Pankaj, of course, was referring to as to Bhagat Singh Koshari, of course, now trying to take cognizance of what has been happening in the state government of Maharashtra in the midst of this crisis. What we're learning is that the battle for Maharashtra has now, of course, reached the Raj Bhavan in one way at least. The Raj Bhavan Secretariat has asked the state government to give details of the files and proposals cleared on June 22nd, 23rd and the 24th. Now the direction comes amid allegations that following the rebellion of the Shiv Sena MLAs, a number of files were cleared and government resolutions issued in a hurry in Mantralaya. Last week, BJP leader and leader of opposition Praveen Darekar had written to the governor on the spate of decisions being taken in a hurry, he said, and had sought the governor's intervention in the matter. My colleague Ritwik Bhalekar is now joining me live from Mumbai on this. Ritwik, does this spell trouble for the Maharashtra government, for the Uddhav Thackeray-led government? Well, there is, of course, the political crisis and the question of their survival as we speak right now. But here, the governor taking cognizance of the number of files that have been cleared and the GRs issued in the interim period during this crisis. What does this mean, Ritwik?
Yes, absolutely, because the governor, after being discharged from hospital, he has come back to the Raj Bhavan, and we can see how much he's active, because the very first day when he returned back, he issued a letter to Commissioner, Mumbai Police Commissioner and DGP of Maharashtra that political violence is taking place all across the state, and rebel MLAs and the families need to be provided with adequate police protection. He has also called upon paramilitary forces, as the sources telling us that center is providing paramilitary forces to all the rebel MLAs, their families, their houses and their offices. Now we are seeing that there is also a letter written to Chief Secretary of Maharashtra seeking details of all the proposals and files and the deliberations of the projects which are being sanctioned, and the funds are being released in a much hurry. There were several projects of crores of rupees which were pending for last few years, but suddenly the government is looking in action. In one day there are more than 100 and 150 GRs, government resolutions that are being released. Some are being uploaded on the government side, some are being not uploaded on government side, and that's the reason Praveen Darekar, leader of opposition from Vidhan Parishad, that is Legislative Council, has written a letter to Chief Secretary of Maharashtra as well as Governor seeking details for it, because they want to know what kind of decisions are being taken. Sources also tell us, and what we understand is that the department like social justice, revenue, then urban department, all the IAS officers and secretaries who are working in these departments, in this secretariat, are aloof, are not going to Mantralaya, are not going to their offices. They just want to stay away from the decisions which are taken, because in future this may land them in trouble, because we are seeing that government is on the brink of collapsing. A new government might be forming in few days. What we can see, which is very evident due to the numbers which Shinde camp has and the way BJP has swung in action. So, Secretariat and the IAS officers are also keeping a distance from all the decisions which are being taken.
Wow, that's very interesting what you're telling us, Ritwik, right now. What Ritwik viewers is telling us is that even the bureaucrats and the IAS officers are now staying away from Mantralaya and are not signing off on these files. They want to stay away from it because they don't know how this could possibly boomerang later, because they suspect that this government is going to fall and all of these decisions that they're in fact taking quote-unquote in a hurry could possibly come back to bite them later. They don't want to take those chances. So it's the ministers who in fact have been signing off on these files, clearing all of these files. Very interestingly, even Uday Samant, who's now inside Hotel Radisson Blu, was signing off on files, some of those decisions taken by him and his department as well, before, of course, he jumped ship. Now, speaking of the Eknath Shinde faction, viewers, is a floor test looking inevitable right now? The first win, the first round has gone to the Eknath Shinde camp. They've, of course, got to stay on their disqualification proceedings, but what could it possibly mean next? Now, after suffering a major setback in the Supreme Court, India Today now has decoded all the possible scenarios of the Maharashtra political crisis: a setback for the Uddhav Thackeray camp and a win in round one for the Eknath Shinde camp. The governor now can take suo motu cognizance, we're told by our sources, and can call the Mahavikas Aghadi government for a floor test to prove their majority. if the 49 MLAs who Shinde claims are with him abstain from voting in the floor test, it would be advantage Bharatiya Janata Party. There are 48 MLAs, viewers, who are with the Shinde camp at the moment, 39 from the Shiv Sena and 9 from the independent and others camp. The BJP has 106 lawmakers in the Maharashtra Assembly, and it also claims to have gotten the support of some independent MLAs as well. Now, this comes at a time when the disqualification powers of the Maharashtra Deputy Speaker have been put on hold by the Supreme Court. The Shiv Sena has already removed Shinde as their legislative party leader and recognized Ajay Chaudhary as the CLP leader. Now, the Shinde camp has called the move illegal as it claimed to have the support of 48 MLAs. Now, with each passing hour, the suspense mounts over the Aghadi Sarkar. Is a floor test inevitable now? That's the big question everyone seems to be asking. What next? What next as far as the Eknath Shinde camp is concerned? Or is Uddhav Thackeray going to pull some sort of a trick out of his book now that there is that lull in as far as the legal proceedings continue, as far as the legal proceedings are concerned, because the Supreme Court has in fact put a stay on the disqualification proceedings till the 11th of July. Pankaj Upadhyay, my colleague, is joining me live from Mumbai. Pankaj, what next? If I were to ask you that question, what next?
Well, that's $1 million question, Polomi, isn't it? Now, see, what I'm hearing from my sources in the BJP is that they're going to have a wait-and-watch approach. Of course, BJP is strategizing, but they are very, very careful. They say every plan has to be foolproof this time around. You cannot have a scenario like the BJP had to face embarrassment in 2019 when they aligned with Ajit Pawar, and one saw the fate of that government. When in the early morning hours, I still remember both of us were on live chats when all of a sudden we heard the announcement that Fadnavis was taking the oath of office along with Ajit Pawar. This time around, BJP says they are not going to take any chances, and that is why they are having a wait-and-watch approach. But interestingly, the way BJP leader Sudhir Mungantiwar yesterday gave his reaction, saying that the Eknath Shinde faction cannot be called rebels because they have 2/3 of the party majority, in itself shows that the BJP has some sort of an inclination at this point of time towards the Eknath Shinde camp. Now, whether there's going to be a floor test or not, what is going to happen right now? Either sources say that Uddhav Thackeray might resign on his own, with frustration, realizing that every single day the party is being weakened, and that is leading to all sorts of embarrassment for him. As you are also pointing out that one more MLA could march towards Guwahati, that's going to be additional embarrassment for Uddhav Thackeray. Either what could happen is, as people also say, that Eknath Shinde might come down to Mumbai, might fly down to Mumbai, and then himself approach the governor and say that, look, I have the support of 38 MLAs, it could be more, and that the government is not having the majority. Or the Bharatiya Janata Party themselves could approach the governor, Bhagat Singh Koshyari, and ask for a floor test. And if Bhagat Singh Koshyari calls for a special session, the Bharatiya Janata Party might just ensure that these rebel MLA camps do not attend the assembly session. And that would mean that the government is going to fall. Once that happens and the new chief minister is in place, of course, in a hurried fashion, the post of the new speaker is going to be filled. And under all circumstances, if that were to happen, then the new speaker is going to recognize the rebel faction as the real Shiv Sena. And once that happens, all things will be sorted out. But these are all in the realms of speculation. We do not know what is going to happen. What we do clearly know is that Bharatiya Janata Party on record is saying that they are strategizing now. They do not consider the Eknath Shinde faction as a rebel group, but they are also saying that plan needs to be foolproof. There has been no decision or no proposal as yet that has come from the Shinde camp. And if at all it does come, then the Bharatiya Janata Party will definitely deliberate. Apolomi, of course, it was also being said whether the Eknath Shinde camp is going to merge with the Bharatiya Janata Party. There were also talks doing the rounds whether Eknath Shinde camp is going to merge with the Maharashtra Sena. In fact, we were hearing that a couple of meetings had already taken place between the MNST and Eknath Shinde. But then many in the political circles also point out at a time when Eknath Shinde himself claims to be the leader of the real Shiv Sena and claims to be the group head of the legislature party as well. There is no point, and the question of merging of this faction does not really arise. But what is going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours, that's also going to be very, very interesting because there are murmurs doing the round that some activities will take place in Raj Bhavan. So the governor is going to get also important
Absolutely.
now. He's back into active role. Yeah. So let's see. It's a wait and watch game now.
Yeah. Absolutely, it's a wait and watch game for you, Pankaj. It's a wait and watch game for me here in Guwahati as well. We're of course going to stay on top of those developments and trust India Today to bring you the first and the most accurate details on what next is to happen in this Maharashtra potboiler. Pankaj and Ritvik, stay on with me. We've got some breaking news that's coming in right now. India Today has now accessed the inside track of what the Eknath Shinde camp has been busy with since, of course, the past few days. They landed here in Guwahati on Wednesday last, and they have been camping over here. And what we learned that after the Supreme Court's verdict yesterday, which put a stay on their disqualification proceedings till the 11th of July, the camp's mood has been very high because that's round one, that's win one for the Eknath Shinde camp. They were keeping their fingers crossed over that. In fact, we also learned from our sources very interestingly that these MLAs in the Eknath Shinde camp wanted to celebrate that win because that was the first big win. They were feeling extremely restive over the past few days. What's going to happen next? What they, of course, won at the Supreme Court for themselves was a big relief for them, a big breather for them. They wanted to celebrate. They wanted to, in fact, to burst firecrackers inside the hotel lawns as well, possibly call in some of the media, Marathi media specifically, because those are the media persons they're familiar with, into the hotel yesterday to capture the moments of those celebrations. But what we learn is one phone call and those plans were put on hold. But they had some relief. They had some good news as well coming in for them. They, of course, had been telling the hotel staff that we've had enough of Assamese cuisine, Assamese food. We want some change in the food that we've been eating. And now Maharashtrian fare is available for the MLAs here at Hotel Radisson Blu. So these are some of the little things that we're picking up, viewers, from our sources within the Eknath Shinde camp as to how exactly they're spending their time inside the hotel. Yesterday, of course, they really wanted to celebrate because they were feeling quite relieved. Ritvik Bhalikar, my colleague, is, of course, standing by with me from Mumbai. Ritvik, I'm sure you've also been speaking to your sources inside the Eknath Shinde camp. I've been speaking to them as well. What I, of course, learned is that they literally wanted to burst firecrackers yesterday in the hotel lawns to celebrate that moment of a win because they were quite on tenterhooks and keeping their fingers crossed as the Supreme Court heard that matter. But obviously, quite obviously, a phone call went in and those plans were put on hold. What are you learning as to how they're spending their time inside the hotel, Ritvik?
Been talking to few of the...
Let's cut across now to Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut speaking to the media.
पहाड़, पानी, तो उनको 11 जुलाई तक और वहाँ आराम करने का ये फरमान है। महाराष्ट्र में उनके लिए कुछ काम नहीं है। जरूर 11 तारीख के बाद जो हमारी मांग है उसके ऊपर विचार होगा। उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि लोग आ गए, विधानसभा में आ गए और कुछ कर लिया। आप बहुत ही बारीकी से वो ऑर्डर पढ़ लीजिए। अपने आप में वो बहुत बड़ा एक ऐतिहासिक ऑर्डर है। ठीक है, 11 तारीख, कल परसों ने 11 तारीख तक उनको आराम करना है। ठीक है।
बंडखोर आमदारांसाठी पक्षाचे दरवाजे पूर्णपणे बंद झाले की जे नेतृत्व करतायत त्यांच्यासाठी बंद झाले, काय भूमिका आहे?
माननीय उद्धवजी असतील किंवा आमचे आदित्य ठाकरे असतील किंवा आम्ही सगळे असू, अजूनही आम्ही त्यातल्या काही लोकांना बंडखोर मानायला तयार नाही. ज्यांच्याशी आमचा संपर्क होतोय, तर त्यांच्या नातेवाईकांचा आमच्याशी संपर्क होतोय, ते ऐकल्यावरती त्यातले बरेच लोक आहेत, अर्ध्यापेक्षा जास्त लोक आहेत, त्यांना आम्ही बंडखोर वगैरे अजून मानायला तयार नाही. कारण ज्या परिस्थितीत त्यांना तिथे ठेवलं गेलेलं आहे किंवा त्यांना नेलं गेलेलं आहे,
Rebel MLAs we don't consider to be traitors because we know the circumstances under which they were taken away and kept at Hotel Radisson Blu.
आता काल न्यायालयाने निकाल दिला, त्यानंतर परत
त्यांची
सुरू झालेली. लोकांना
There is obviously a lot of restiveness in that camp, even after the Supreme Court verdict.
25,000 लोक काल रस्त्यावरती उतरले.
Yesterday in Akola, I watched through the media.
समर्थनार्थ आणि जे बंडखोर निघून गेलेले आहेत त्यांच्या विरोधामध्ये आणि उद्धव ठाकरेंना पाठिंबा देण्यात म्हणजे अक्षरशः जनसागर उसळला.
25,000 people came out on the streets in support of Nitin Deshmukh and against the rebel MLAs who'd gone away.
लोक उत्स्फूर्तपणे रस्त्यावर येतात. लवकरच
You saw the pictures at Aditya Thackeray's rally yesterday that he was addressing.
शिवसेनेमध्ये किंवा शिवसेनेला मानणारी जनता
Soon you'll see images in Thane as well.
कोणत्याही विचाराला स्थान देत नाही हे लक्षात घ्या. त्याच्यामुळे आम्ही निश्चिंत आहोत.
Shiv Sena do not support this idea. Let this be clear.
करत असेल समोरून तर आमचं वेट अँड वॉच सुद्धा आहे.
Others may be doing wait and watch. We are also waiting and watching.
अरे बापरे, त्यांनी खरं म्हणजे 12 आमदार 2.5 वर्षापासून त्यांच्या टेबलावर पडून आहेत राजभवनाच्या झाडी झुडपात. त्याची माहिती घ्यायला पाहिजे की आम्ही या आमदारांना अजून दुधान काय देऊ शकलो नाही. 12 आमदार उदान नामनियुक्त. ठीक आहे, राज्यपाल माहिती घेतील अशा
Governor should check on the rebel MLAs who've left.
आणि ते कामाला लागले असतील तर त्या 12 आमदारांची फाईल त्यांनी ताबडतोब क्लिअर करावी.
Wish him best on his health.
देवेंद्र फडणवीस यांच्या शासकीय निवासस्थानी
I hope he clears all the files.
शासकीय निवासस्थानी भाजपच्या बैठका होत्या. असं म्हटलं जातं की सत्ता स्थापनेसाठी या हालचाली सुरू झाल्या.
देवेंद्र फडणवीस हे या राज्याचे विरोधी पक्ष आहेत. त्यांच्याकडे बऱ्यापैकी आमदारांचं बळ आहे. विरोधी
Devendra Fadnavis is leader of opposition.
16 आमदारांचं बळ आहे. इतका मोठा विरोधी पक्ष महाराष्ट्रामध्ये कधी निर्माण झाला नव्हता.
He has 116 MLAs.
हा विरोधी पक्ष विधायक काम चांगल्या प्रकारे करू शकतो आणि
Such a massive opposition.
ही आमची काय भूमिका आहे. आणि देवेंद्र फडणवीस यांच्यामध्ये ती क्षमता आहे.
They can do a constructive job as opposition. Devendra Fadnavis has that capacity. He was the chief minister of the state.
झालं तर डबक्यात उतरू नये.
But
त्यांची प्रतिष्ठा होईल असं माझं
he shouldn't get down to this now.
ज्या पद्धतीचं डबकं काही लोकांनी तयार केलं.
As a friend, I'll advise him.
डबक्यात बेडूक राहतात.
The kind of situation that has been created by some in politics.
स्वतःच्या डबक्यात उतरून काही करण्याचा प्रयत्न केला.
देवेंद्र फडणवीस
त्यांच्या पक्षाची प्रधानमंत्री मोदींची आणि स्वतः देवेंद्र फडणवीस त्यांची कमालीची अप्रतिष्ठा होईल असं माझं स्पष्ट आणि परखड मत आहे. आणि मला खात्री आहे की ते त्या डबक्यात किंवा त्या नरकात उडी मारणार.
एकनाथ शिंदे यांनी तयार केलेलं किंवा त्यांच्यामुळे तयार झालेलं डबकं असं तुम्हाला म्हणायचं आहे?
मी असं काही म्हटलं नाही. तुम्ही नावं घेऊ नका, तुम्ही घेताय. मी म्हटलं की सध्या काही एक डबकं तयार झालेलं आहे. त्या डबक्यामध्ये स्वतःला एक राष्ट्रीय पक्ष म्हणवणाऱ्या किंवा प्रधानमंत्री मोदींचं नेतृत्व सांगणाऱ्या पक्षानं उतरू नये.
चित्रपट ज्यावेळी रिलीज झाला
मला माहिती नाही.
यांनी आता एक गंभीर आरोप केलाय की मनोहर जोशी यांचं ज्यावेळेस तरी बंड केलं होतं त्यावेळेस त्यांचं घर जाळायचे आदेश संजय राऊत यांनी मला दिले होते.
नाही, मला माहिती नाही. तेव्हा माझं त्या संदर्भात काही कधीच बोलणं झालं नाही.
सर, दीपक केसरकर ने कल पत्र लिखा है जिसमें उन्होंने ऐसा लिखा था
जे स्वतः पळून गेले शिवसेनेतून त्यांच्यावर मी काय विश्वास ठेवतो.
हो, पण ते तुमच्यावर फार जहरी टीका करताय की एकही आंदोलन रस्त्यावर न करणारे संजय राऊत आज आम्हाला.
कालच त्यांनी 4 दिवसापूर्वीच त्यांनी माझ्याकडून माझा सत्कार केला शिवसेनेचा योद्धा म्हणून. एक दिवस गुवाहाटीला जाण्याआधी एक दिवस
काय
ते सर्व शिवसैनिकांचं माझ्याकडे आले आणि शिवसेनेतला योद्धा म्हणून त्यांनी माझा सत्कार केला. इतकंच नव्हे तर बीकेसीला
Shiv Sena had come to me just a day before they had gone to Guwahati and felicitated me for the work I had contributed towards the Shiv Sena.
घेऊन जाऊ, तुम्ही जी लढाई करताय शिवसेनेसाठी बरं का, त्या लढाईचं एक गौरव म्हणून आम्ही 400 मोटरसायकल आणि पाठीमागे तुमची जीप असं आपण जाऊ आणि मग उद्धव साहेबांचं स्वागत करू. तुम्ही आमची वीर आणि योद्धे आहात असं हे सांगणारे आहेत. बरं का, ह्यांच्यावरती काय विश्वास ठेवता. हे आधीसुद्धा पक्ष बदलून आलेले आहेत तरी त्यांना उद्धव साहेबांनी मोठ्या मनानं पक्षात घेतलं. ह्यांच्यावरती मी विश्वास ठेवू नका.
एकीकडे तुमचा सत्कार आणखी 4 दिवसांनीच धिक्कार म्हणजे की हे कशाची मोडस ऑपरेंडी म्हणजे कोण आहे?
मोडस ऑपरेंडी नाही, हे डबक्यामध्ये म्हणलं डबकं झाले स्वार्थ. याच्यावरती कशाला प्रश्न विचारता आणि वेळ घालवता तुम्ही माझा आणि तुमचा. बोला.
बंडखोर आमदार वारंवार असं म्हणतायत की उद्धव ठाकरेंनी विचार करावा आणि शिवसेना भाजप युती व्हावी, त्यांनी महाविकास आघाडीमधून
ठीक आहे
बाहेर यावं.
उद्धव साहेबांना काय करायचं ते निर्णय घ्यायला ते समर्थ. गुवाहाटीमध्ये बसून सल्ले देऊ नका. मार्गदर्शक
Uddhav
मंडळ
Sahib can
नेमलेलं
take his own decision. Don't give
इथे
us
या, बोला.
suggestions from Guwahati.
असं म्हटलं जातं की 2 दिवसात
Come here, talk to us here.
आता येऊ शकतात, त्यांना कोणी अडवलं? एकनाथ शिंदे आमचे सहकारी आहेत अजूनही ते
What 2
पक्षाच्या
days he can come right now,
कार्यकारिणीमध्ये
Eknath Shinde?
उद्धव ठाकरे यांनीच त्यांना पक्षाचं नेतेपदी नेमणूक
He's still
केली.
part of the national executive.
आमचे सहकारी आहेत, आमचे मित्र आहेत. अनेकदा आम्ही एकत्र
Uddhav Thackeray had appointed him as Neta. He's a friend, he's a co-worker.
कटुता असण्याचं कारण नाही तर त्यांच्या मनात नाही. त्यांची लढाई किंवा काय असेल तो त्यांचा प्रश्न आहे. त्यांनी
I have nothing against him, it's in his heart.
कुठे जाऊ?
सर बंगाल के बीजेपी के
He should
नेता हैं
come to
शुभेंदु अधिकारी,
Mumbai.
उन्होंने
He should
दावा
come to
किया है कि
Maharashtra.
महाराष्ट्र तो अभी शुरुआत है, इसके बाद झारखंड और दूसरे राज्य की बारी है,
नहीं,
बंगाल की बारी है.
पश्चिम बंगाल का भी मैंने नाम सुना है और पश्चिम बंगाल के टीएमसी के 15 लोगों का ईडी का नोटिस जा रहा है, मैं पढ़ रहा है. तो ठीक है, ये सरकार कौन बना रहा है? बीजेपी बना रही है या सेंट्रल इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसी बना रही है? उस बारे में बहुत बड़ा प्रश्न चिन्ह खड़ा हुआ है. झारखंड में भी चल रहा है. लेकिन कुछ भी करो, हम डरने वाले लोग नहीं हैं. चाहे मुझे यहाँ से गिरफ्तार करके लेके जाएंगे. हा दुसऱ्या स्वातंत्र्याचा लढा आहे या देशामध्ये.
राव सर, तुम्ही ईडीचा उल्लेख केला. आज तुम्हाला खरं तर बोलवलेलं आहे.
This is the second freedom struggle.
कधी जाणार?
माझे पुढे काही दिवस हे पक्षाचे कार्यक्रम आहेत, ते माझ्यासाठी महत्त्वाचं आहे. या दरम्यान जर ईडीला वाटलं की त्यांना मला अटक करायची आहे तर मी
My programs of the party are important.
म्हणजे तुम्ही ईडी चौकशीला जी वेळ दिलेली आहे,
If they still want to arrest me, they can come to wherever I am. They can arrest me.
ज्या क्षणी मी मोकळा आहे त्या क्षणी मी ईडी समोर जाईन. मी कायद्याचं पालन करणारा माणूस आहे. मी लॉ मेकर आहे, मी खासदार आहे, मला माहिती आहे कायदा काय आहे. जरी कायद्याचे
I
या
follow the
काम
law.
करणाऱ्या एजन्सी
I
चुकीच्या
abide by the law.
बेकायदेशीर
I'm
वागत
an MP.
तरी मी कायद्यानं वागणार आहे. तुम्ही किती खोटं करा.
Even if
मी
the
म्हटलं ना,
agency is working
आणीबाणीमध्ये ज्या पद्धतीने
not per the law.
लोकांना तुरुंगात टाकलं आणि ते बेकायदेशीर होतं, त्याच पद्धतीनं आमच्यासारख्या लोकांना बेकायदेशीरपणे तुरुंगात टाकून जे राज्य चालवायचा काही लोकांचा प्रयत्न असेल तर आम्ही तुरुंगात जायला देशासाठी दुसऱ्या स्वातंत्र्यासाठी तयार आहोत. काही दिवसांनी
ready
मग
to
आम्हाला
go to
त्यांना पेन्शन
jail
द्यावं लागेल आणि ताम्रपट
for
द्यावं लागेल
the country
स्वातंत्र्य सैनिक
for
म्हणून.
the second.
सर, कल दीपक केसरकर ने एक पत्र लिखा था जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि संजय राउत शिवसेना को खत्म कर रहे हैं.
कौन किसने?
दीपक केसरकर ने एक पत्र लिखा और वो कह रहे हैं
वो कब आए पार्टी में? बाला साहब के देहांत के बाद वो पार्टी में आए. वो क्या शिवसेना की बात करेंगे? छोड़ दीजिए उनको. बोलो सावंतवाड़ी में चुनकर आकर दिखाइए.
पत्र काय दिलेलं आहे? दीपक केसरकर
घरी टीकाच करताय की एकही आंदोलन रस्त्यावर न करणारे संजय राऊत आज आम्हाला
कालच त्यांनी 4 दिवसापूर्वीच त्यांनी माझ्याकडून माझा सत्कार केला शिवसेनेचा घेऊन.
Okay, that is of course Sanjay Raut again adopting a combative tone, speaking about the ED summons, the Enforcement Directorate summons in the Patra Chaul land scam case as well, viewers, saying that I have to follow the party program. That is primary for me, that is priority for me. Remember, Sanjay Raut is going to in fact address the public in Alibag today. So he says the ED knows where I'll be. If they want to arrest me, they can come arrest me. This is our second freedom struggle. I am a law-abiding citizen. I will follow the law even if the agency doesn't quite follow the law. But I will, because I'm a member of Parliament. So we're slipping into a short break, viewers. Right now, our continuous coverage of the Maharashtra political potboiler will continue on the other side. Stay tuned to India Today.
The men and women who built Indian industry, and the young guns who are shaping tomorrow's India. From storied careers to unicorn dreams, the past meets the future on the Business Today show with Uday and Mukherjee.
the scissors, cut open the peanut butter pouch. Peanut butter's open, squeeze it onto the tortilla. Careful.
This is the mighty Putin, and his legs are trembling and shaking. This video of Putin is making the rounds on the internet, and media have shown a keen interest as this might indicate Putin's alleged bad health. Putin can be seen swaying front and back after presenting an award to filmmaker Nikita Mikhailov. So is Putin actually unsteady on his feet? Well, some reports say that Putin's doctors have reportedly told him not to make long appearances in public due to his unstable health. Concerns over Vladimir Putin's health came to the fore amid the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. According to media reports, a Russian intelligence officer claimed that Putin has been given just 3 years to live, as he has a severe form of rapidly progressing cancer. Ukraine's intelligence agency chief Kirilo Budanov has stated that Russian President Vladimir Putin is in bad physical and psychological condition. Videos and images of Vladimir Putin taken over the last 2 months have hinted that the Russian president is in bad physical shape. While greeting and sitting with war veterans at the Victory Day parade in Moscow, Putin was seen having a blanket to cover his legs.
You're watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jamal. Big news coming in from the state of Maharashtra. Possible government formation formula now that BJP and Shinde camp are currently drawing out. Will Shinde press for Deputy Chief Minister's post is the question. Are the portfolios for him still in bargaining stage? Eknath Shinde camp to get at least 8 cabinet berths, 5 MOS. BJP will be aiming for 29 berths. This is the strategy that is likely to be drawn out. This is as per sources that the BJP and Eknath Shinde camp currently in deep talks to try and understand the possible road towards government formation in Maharashtra. Shinde camp to press for retaining the present portfolios, as sources have said that Uddhav government has kept on hold all important decisions taken by the rebel ministers so far in the last 1 month. The Shinde camp, meanwhile, wants independents, the rebel faction of those independents, to be included in the cabinet as well from the BJP's quota. Let me cut across to Kamlesh Sithar joining us for more on that. Kamlesh, on one hand, you have Uddhav Thackeray using all his executive powers, stripping many of those rebel MLAs off their ministries. While that said, doesn't seem like the rebel camp is perturbed. Now, a possible government formation discussion is currently underway between the BJP and the Shinde camp. And from what we hear is that Shinde might likely press for Deputy Chief Minister's post. And many of those independents as well, he's pushing for them to get ministries under the BJP's quota. What's the plan ahead for them? Kamlesh? I'm going to try and get Kamlesh over for a little perspective on this piece of news. But this is big development coming in as per sources. A possible government formation, a formula that will be drawn out between the BJP and the Shinde camp. Remember, the Shinde camp now to stay in Guwahati for a little longer, possibly until the 5th of July. Until then, Devendra Fadnavis and team already mulling over ways of staking claim to the government. It's going to be quite fairly easy affair for them at this point, considering they have the numbers. So a confident BJP at this point, we believe, already in talks with the Shinde camp. And now Eknath Shinde, major press for Deputy Chief Minister's post. Kamlesh Uttar joining us more on that. Kamlesh, if you can hear me, what's the road ahead for the Shinde BJP camp?
Well, there are certain possibilities that are being worked out. That is what sources are telling us. The Shinde camp, the rebel camp, is pressing for all the present berths that they have. Apart from that, they would also seek more cabinet berths. As of now, we've seen there are 5 cabinet ministers in the Shinde camp, including Shinde himself, and another 4 MOS, Minister of States, that are union ministers. They would be pressing for a number of plus 4 more cabinet berths. Although Shinde's role is yet to be decided, whether Shinde will get the Deputy Chief Minister's post or anything else apart from that. But he would be pressing to retain his present ministry and another important portfolios for his colleagues who have come with him, have joined him in the rebellion. Also, at present, there are 5 cabinet ministers with him. They would be seeking for at least 3 to 4 more cabinet berths for senior leaders like Deepak Kesarkar, Sanjay Raut, Sanjay Raut, who have joined the camp. However, these are source-based information that is about the behind the curtains talk that is going on between Shinde camp and Fadnavis in case they decide to go ahead and form a government.
Well, you know, Kamlesh, at this point, this is huge development. They're already looking at cabinet ministries to be allotted, which means it's a good signal out there that the BJP is in deep talks with the Shinde camp. Even though to the face of it, there hasn't been any movement, be it on Devendra Fadnavis' side or Eknath Shinde, apart from meeting one another about 3 days ago in the dead of the night. Very silently, both of them have met. But apart from that, so far, there haven't been any BJP leaders who've reached Guwahati, neither of the rebel camp leaders who've moved out to meet any of the BJP senior leadership. So despite that, despite them remaining silent on this possible coalition, we're seeing hectic developments happening between both of them. In fact, ministry is already being decided on who to be given to. The rebel camp asserting that the independent MLAs are also equally part. They should be given ministries under BJP quota. Is the BJP this time, quickly, Kamlesh, is the BJP accommodating of most of their demands? Do they look susceptible to it?
Well, as I said, these are primary discussions, demands that have been discussed, hectic parleys between the rebel camp and the BJP. That is what we learned. But of course, the rebels who are willing to, who have quit the Shiv Sena in one sense. They say that they are original part of the Shiv Sena, but though staging such a coup against the party leadership has been a difficult task for him, and most of them though have said that they have joined Hindutva, but they would also like to be rehabilitated in a proper way. So the rehabilitation would be in the form of a ministry. Certain senior Shiv Sena leaders, Shiv Sena MLAs who have been 2 to 3 times MLA, they have also joined the rebellion, and they would obviously seek some important portfolio as part of that reformation or the reformation in the new cabinet if they decide to form a government. So as of now, as I said, 4 senior leaders in the rebel camp would also be accommodated as cabinet ministers. And other than that, some rebels and some independents and smaller parties have also joined Eknath Shinde. Apart from the 41 MLAs that Eknath Shinde camp has, almost 8 to 9 independents have joined Eknath Shinde's camp in Guwahati. Yeah. So they would also like to be accommodated in the ministry, but the Shinde camp is insisting that the independents and smaller parties should be accommodated from the BJP quota. So these are discussions that are going on. Whether the BJP agrees to it,
that remains to be seen. Kamlesh, thank you very much for joining us with those details. I'm going to quickly cut across to this exclusive conversation with BJP's Sudhir Mangantevar, where he's seen supporting the rebels. Sudhir, in fact, claims that the BJP is now just awaiting a formal offer from Shinde to form the government. Here's a listen.
एकनाथ शिंदे सीएलपी लीडर है, लेजिस्लेटिव लीडर है इस वक्त एकनाथ शिंदे, ये सब मान सकते हैं क्या?
हमें लगता है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बड़े स्पष्टता से कहा है, तो माननीय उपाध्यक्ष जी के निर्णय को उन्होंने जो कोर्ट के आदेश में कहा है, तो वो तो अभी भी नेता है ही ना, और वो भी अपने आप को शिवसेना के नेता ही मान रहे, वो बागी भी नहीं मान रहे, वो ऐसा नहीं कह रहे, वो तो इतना ही कह रहे कि हिंदू हृदय सम्राट स्वर्गीय बाला साहब ठाकरे जी का जो संकल्प था कांग्रेस से दूर जाना, कांग्रेस के साथ नहीं रहना, कांग्रेस ये देश हित में काम कम, खुर्ची हित में ज्यादा करती है, परिवार हित में काम करती है। तो मुझे लगता है चलो अच्छी बात,
ऑफर आएगा तो एक्सेप्ट कर लेंगे सर।
आज कोई कह नहीं सकते।
Alright, here's a big development coming in from the Eknath Shinde camp. Eknath Shinde now calls for a meeting at 12 noon. The latest, Eknath Shinde calls for a meeting at 12 noon. Remember, the court has given them some relief by putting on stay the disqualification proceedings against them. At this point, Eknath Shinde and camp feeling, of course, relieved from that disqualification process. But apart from that, they're also hectically meeting, deciding what next, what would be their future course of action. Anupam Mishra joining us from Guwahati for a little detail on that. Anupam, give us an understanding on the purpose of this meeting, urgent meeting that's been called in by Eknath Shinde at 12 p.m. this afternoon.
Yes, Navina, they've called a meeting. It will be a crucial meeting to decide the next step, further step. What will they do after the Supreme Court orders? Because the situation is changing day by day and time by time. So that is why the strategy is also changing. So they have called for a meeting and they will decide the next step, how to go towards Mumbai, how to move ahead. Because the first step to garner the numbers has almost ended, almost over. Still, one more MLA is likely to come today. But the next step, the important step, is to how to form the government. So there are three processes which the first process is whether BJP demands the floor test from governor, whether governor calls for a floor test suo moto, and whether Eknath Shinde group demands the floor test. So these are the three processes which they are right now deciding, and there's another thing that they are already talking to BJP to how to form government and how to go ahead. And the security concern is also there because they have been already threatened by Shiv Sena. So they feel that if they land at Mumbai, the security will be the major concern. So they will also be deciding on how to reach Mumbai and how to proceed ahead towards floor test, towards assembly. So these are the things which will be discussed in the meeting called by Eknath Shinde camp inside the Radisson Blue Hotel in Guwahati. Nabila.
All right, Anupam, thank you very much. Anupam, of course, on top of that story, he's right there in Guwahati bringing us the latest on what the Eknath Shinde huddle is all about. The battle for Maharashtra, of course, reached the Raj Bhavan. The Raj Bhavan Secretariat has now asked the state government to give out details of the files and proposals that have been cleared on June 22nd, 23rd and 24th. The direction here comes in the backdrop of allegations following the rebellion of the Shiv Sena MLAs. A number of files were quickly cleared and government resolutions were issued in a hurry in that Mantralaya. Last week, BJP leader of opposition, Praveen Darekar, had written to the governor on the spate of decisions being taken in a hurry and also had sought the governor's intervention on that matter. In fact, here, as we see that Uddhav Thackeray is pushed to the edge, the government very soon could collapse. In fact, it's understood right now they don't have the majority number. Therefore, at this point, their stability is a big question. And knowing very well of the end coming near, it appears that Uddhav Thackeray, the allegations are that Uddhav Thackeray has initiated projects and clearing of files in a hasty manner, and that's been brought to the notice of the governor. The governor now seeking details on what were those files that were passed, and it's particularly on the 22nd, 23rd and the 24th. Ritwik joining us for more details on that. Ritwik, what are these allegations that we hear that Uddhav Thackeray and his team have quickly tried to pass off files in the last 3 days, possibly anticipating that their end is coming close. At this point, governor has also sought more details on those files that have been cleared. Give us an understanding.
Nabila, it's very surprising that within last 1 week, there was several projects which were crores of rupees, which costed crores of rupees, they were passed and funds were released for these projects. The files were signed, the government resolutions are released in such a hurry that the doubts are being raised now, because leader of opposition from Legislative Council, Praveen Darekar, has written a letter to governor on 24th of June that the decisions which are being done, which are being taken, are not every decision is being uploaded on the government website. in generally, we see that government resolutions are uploaded on a government website the day on which they are released, but these things are not happening. So we don't really know which projects have been approved and how much funds have been allotted to that projects. There are projects from revenue department, from social justice, from urban development, and we've also come to learn that the secretariat, the secretaries and IAS officers, the bureaucrats who are related to these departments are staying away from it. They are not going to the Mantralaya. They have not seen in the office still from whose direction these allotments are made. Crores of rupees are being allotted for these projects, and why in such hurry? Because since past few years these projects were pending and there were no decision about it. But now in just few weeks, like in a day, more than 172 GRs are being released, and this really raises doubts. Yes.
Terrific. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, all eyes now on Uddhav Thackeray and the moves that he's made over the last 3 days. He's cleared off files hastily, which the governor has now asked for some kind of report on what exactly were those files that were cleared in a rush. Let me cut across to the Maharashtra government and the setback that they've received right now by the Supreme Court. In fact, India Today decodes all those possible scenarios of the Maharashtra political crisis. The governor takes suo moto cognizance and calls this is a scenario that the governor could possibly take suo moto cognizance, call the Mahavikas Aghadi government for an immediate floor test to prove their majority. And if the 49 MLAs who Shinde claims are with him abstain from voting in the floor of the House, then it would it would of course benefit the BJP at that point. The BJP has about 104 to 106 lawmakers in Maharashtra Assembly, and it also claimed to have gotten the support of some independent MLAs as well. This comes at a time when the disqualification powers of the Maha Deputy Speaker has been put on hold by the Supreme Court. The Shiv Sena has meanwhile already removed Shinde as their legislative party leader and recognized Ajay Chaudhary as the CLP leader. Again, that's also in question as the Shinde camp has challenged that in the apex court. Shinde camp has now called this move illegal, claiming that they have the support of 49 MLAs. At least 39 of them are Shiv Sena MLAs. And since they have the majority, there's no way that Uddhav Thackeray can appoint a chief whip without their consent. With each passing hour, the suspense, of course, mounts over the Aghadi Sarkar. Is the floor test now inevitable? All right, on the other side of a short break, taking you through news coming in from Russia-Ukraine invasion. Russia missile hits a shopping center in Ukraine. Going to take you through images of that on the other side. Stay with us.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today. You are watching
Now, 2 Russian missiles have slammed into a crowded shopping center in the central Ukrainian city of Kremenchuk on Monday, killing at least 16 people, wounding 59. President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that more than 1,000 people were in that mall at the time of the attack, which witnesses there who really witnessed that entire crash has said that huge fire and smoke erupted. This really has sent shockwaves across that region. Let's have a look.
2 Russian missiles slammed into a crowded shopping center in the central Ukrainian city of Kremenchuk on Monday, killing at least 10 people and wounding 40, according to local officials. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said more than 1,000 people were in the shopping center at the time of the attack, which witnesses said caused a huge fire and sent dark smoke billowing into the sky. A Reuters reporter saw the charred husk of the shopping center with a caved-in roof. Firefighters and soldiers were pulling out mangled pieces of metal as they searched for survivors. Zelensky wrote on the Telegram messaging app, quote, "It's useless to hope for decency and humanity from Russia." And the governor of the region called it an act of terrorism against civilians. Russia did not immediately comment on the assertion. It has denied deliberately targeting civilians during what it calls its special military operation in Ukraine. Russian missile attacks have stepped up in recent days, with a primary school in Kharkiv hit in the early morning hours of Monday, said the school's director.
The school has been badly damaged. You have seen for yourself.
There were no casualties, but windows were blown out, walls cracked, with debris strewn throughout. In the schoolyard, a huge crater. And another rocket hit a nearby privately owned garage, sparking a fire at a residential building.
Let me quickly cut across to Rajesh Pawar, joining us for an understanding of what really happened. Rajesh, please give us a sense of how bad this attack has been. 16 people have lost their lives. They were all caught off guard as that missile dropped on a busy commercial shopping hub.
Look, Navida, this is in Kremenchuk where these 2 missiles hit a shopping mall. And there are a lot of people, which reports are there about 10 people have died in this strike. And it is really sad that civilian lives are being lost in this war. But having said that, let me tell you, this is a series of reports coming from Ukraine, and the civilian targets have been hit on both the sides. Even at the risk of being labeled as pro-Russia, which a lot of people have told me, our job is to look at it in a very objective way. And I'm not surprised when the reports come like from Kharkiv now, with a missile hit, and including 1 child was injured. A school was hit, a kindergarten was hit, a hospital was hit. Let me put it in a little perspective. See, a missile costs a lot of money. And Russia or Ukraine, for that matter, any country would not waste this much amount of money hitting schools or kindergartens or hospitals. Yes, there can be an error of judgment, and there could be these missiles might land on such targets. I'm not denying that. But having said that, let me tell you, in the initial days of war, we have discussed it a lot. A lot of civilians were armed by Ukrainian government. And there have been incidents like this in the past as well. There was a missile hit on a similar mall in Kyiv as well in March. And later on, the Russian Ministry of Defense has issued a video wherein a vehicle which has hit a tank, Russian tank, and then ran for cover inside this mall. So I want our viewers to know that a lot of such targets, be it schools, be it kindergartens, where there are no children studying at the moment, are used to house military equipment and military personnel as well. And this incident
What's shocking here is that this is a busy commercial hub. It's a shopping mall, knowing very well that there could be people there. Not could be, there were people there. It was quite a busy shopping mall is what we understand. So do you feel that this was error in judgment while striking, or this was a deliberate target?
It could be anything, Nabila, but let me tell you, I have seen through various videos, not just one issued by President Zelensky. I've gone through a lot of videos, and if you look at the parking lot, there were merely 2 to 3 cars outside a mall. In a big city like Kyiv, you do not have 1,000 people at one time in a mall. And in these times, this is certainly an exaggerated report, but I'm not denying there might have been casualties, civilian casualties, which is condemnable. Nabila.
It's absolutely tragic. Right now, Rajesh, if you can give us an understanding on this Kremenchuk area of Ukraine, is this an area that is seeing heavy bombardment by Russian forces at this point? And how far is Russia from capturing Ukraine altogether? A quick understanding on the areas that they've already dominated.
Nabila, there have been more than 50 missile strikes in last 1 week all over Ukraine, including in western and central Ukraine. This area, Kremenchuk, is in central Ukraine, which has not been bombarded very heavily so far in the war. But in last 1 week, there have been strikes all over, be it in Lviv, be it in Dnipro, be it in Kharkiv, and today morning, even in Odessa. So missile strikes have been carried out by Russian forces all over Ukraine. One, to stop the armaments which are coming from West, from America and Europe, from reaching them into to the front lines. Secondly, somehow they're targeting the depots and the railway infrastructure inside Ukraine, in any part of Ukraine, be it west, central or eastern part of Ukraine. As far as Russia, how far it is from capturing Ukraine, it is not Ukraine, but it is Donbass, I can say. Lugansk, they are on the last city now, Lysychansk. Moment they capture this city on which they are closing on the Russian forces, complete Lugansk province will be under Russian control. Also, there are reports that Russian forces are closing on from different sides onto Odessa, the second biggest city of Ukraine and the biggest port city in Ukraine right now. They are already in control of Snake Island, which looks over all the traffic coming to Odessa port. So right now, intense fighting is going on. And last 1 week, Russian forces have seen a lot of successes, especially the withdrawal of Ukrainian forces from Severodonetsk in Lugansk province. Nabila.
Months later, the war still continues, and we're seeing the G7 nations at this point condemning this Russian attack, where we're seeing hectic civilian casualties. Rajesh Pawar on top of that story. Thank you very much, Rajesh, for joining us. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of the Bulletin. Further news and updates, you could log on to indiatoday.in. You could also download our app for more. Stay tuned. I'm going to come back with the top headlines.
We know that plastic causes pollution, but did you know microplastics can also be a cause of pollution? Microplastics are plastic particles with dimensions less than 5 millimeters. Some are so small, they are invisible to the naked eye. Nylon and polyethylene, for example, are mixture of polymers and additives, are themselves microplastics created from tiny pellets known as nurdles. These elements are found in everyday products like shower gels and cosmetics, as well as fertilizers, detergents, and paint. Another major source of this pollution is car tire wear. Difficult to filter, these microplastics get everywhere, in rivers and then the oceans, on land or in the air we breathe. Billions of items of plastic waste taking hundreds of years to break down litter beaches all around the world. All living species in the oceans that are part of the human food chain, from zooplankton to whales, are likely to ingest microplastics. The impact of microplastics on organisms or on ecosystems is unknown, but the additives they contain are potential chemical contaminants.
India's #1 political reporter
defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today.
Presented by Berger Easy Clean. No dog, no dhabba, only beautiful walls.
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today.
You are watching India Today.
Shocking images of khaki rage coming to fore. This video has now gone viral where a cop in Mohali has shot at a youth on his thigh. Raising brutality caught on cameras. Mohali's trigger-happy cop shoots the youth in his thigh right after an argument with the police. Very shocking video that's come before now. A cop shoots a man on his thigh right after a tussle with the police. The police shoots the boy on his thigh. The couple on the bike had an argument with the police, and soon after the argument, the police there opened fire, shot at the boy's leg. These are the visuals that have now gone viral, where we see the couple attacking the police, and the police, to stop them, have shot at the man. All right, that's the shocking video that's now gone viral. You're watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jamal, taking you through that top news. First, the headlines. BJP Shinde trying to work out a possible power-sharing formula. Shinde faction may get 13 ministerial berths. BJP eyeing 29 ministries. It is an India Today exclusive. Numbers with Shinde Sena. Will they move in for the kill and pull the plug on Mahavikas Aghadi government? All eyes now on who approaches the governor. Maharashtra suspense over Aghadi Sarkar. Pressure on Uddhav to step down as floor test looks all but certain now. Is this endgame for Uddhav Thackeray, or does he have a final roll of dice left? Maharashtra governor seeks details of Uddhav government's file clearance spree amid political upheaval. Will Koshyari order a floor test for Aghadi government is the question. Ashok Gehlot versus Sachin Pilot war reignites. Rajasthan Chief Minister now takes a dig at Pilot, claiming that he conspired with the BJP to topple the Congress government. Pilot hits back, says he doesn't pay heed to what Gehlot says. Russian missile strike hits a crowded shopping center in Ukraine. At least 16 reportedly killed. Zelensky says that over 1,000 people were at the shopping center when that missile struck. All right, we're looking at the fastest updates coming in from the state of Maharashtra. India Today's battery of reporters bringing us the most accurate details. Here are a couple of developments that we're seeing happening today. Shinde Sena coming together in a key meeting at 12 p.m., a key huddle where they will be deciding the future course of action. And then you also have the BJP Shinde power sharing formula that India Today has accessed, which we are going to put out for you in just moments from now. And of course, the question and the spotlight now on the Maharashtra governor, Bhagat Singh Koshyari, on whether he will use his powers to call for a floor test. In fact, also at this point, the governor lenses on Uddhav Thackeray's file what we believe, the allegations are that Uddhav Thackeray has hastily cleared several files over the last 3 days. Governor now seeks a report on what were those files that were cleared on the 22nd, 23rd and 24th. More on that right after I get some understanding from Maushami, who joins us from Mumbai, on the reaction to Uddhav Thackeray, reaction to that notice that Uddhav Thackeray has received. In fact, Maushami, Uddhav Thackeray has been issued a notice by the Supreme Court itself that they've got to stop proceedings against the rebel MLAs, the disqualification proceedings, and also question on why no security has been given to them, and raised also questions about the law and order situation in the state of Maharashtra at this point. Has there been any response coming in from the Uddhav Thackeray camp so far?
See, clearly there has been a step taken back by the Uddhav Sena ever since the rhetoric that poured in 2 days back. If you see that yesterday there was a softer version of the direct threat that was being issued to the rebel camp, and remember that it was day before yesterday that Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut had said that their souls are dead and only the corpses will come back, and that had created a lot of rage as far as the rebel camp is concerned, and that was a ground that was cited. Sanjay Raut's comment was cited in the Supreme Court when the rebel MLAs asked for protection and said that their life and the families' lives were being impacted and threatened. They were being intimidated. So clearly this comes as a rap on the knuckles of the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government headed by Uddhav Thackeray. Clearly, despite the fact that the Shiv Sena is saying, even Priyanka Chaturvedi said yesterday to me that Mumbai is completely safe and they can return back to their houses. But clearly the Supreme Court doesn't think so, and that's the reason that you see that a notice has been issued by the Supreme Court. Clearly the government will have to elaborate and specify what kind of protection they have provided to the rebel families and the rebel leaders.
Allegations that Uddhav Thackeray may have cleared out a couple of files in a hasty manner, in full rush over the last 3 days. It seems like the cabinet has been working. The governor has sought a report on what these files were. So how does that, what statement is that really sending out?
See, clearly there has been a haste. We are told that many officers have not joined the office and are absent from office ever since this entire turbulence started, and more MLAs shifted base from Mumbai to Guwahati. So clearly, the officers are considered as weather masters, the political weather masters, perhaps reading the forecast, the political forecast. They have absenteed themselves from work, and that's one reason that we've seen that Uddhav Thackeray has allotted charges to various ministers who are in his camp, divesting those in
all right, Maushami, do stay with us. We have some big breaking news coming in at this point. A very important update. At this point, we hear that 14 out of 18 Sena MPs are in touch with the Shinde faction. This support is expected to help Eknath Shinde to stake claim over the party. Remember, Eknath Shinde is hoping that his rebel faction be declared and recognized as the real Shiv Sena. At this point, of course, if at all the Election Commission, or for that matter, those stakeholders who grant this kind of recognition at this point, will have to see the number of leaders who are with the rebel camp and what's their association with the party, do they have the majority, etc. And now 14 of the 18 Sena MPs in touch with Shinde faction only means that Eknath Shinde has more merit at this point to say that we are the real Shiv Sena, and very likely could be recognized as a separate party altogether, as a Shiv Sena, the original party at this point. Munish joining us on the phone line for that. Munish, at this point, 14 out of the 18 MPs we hear of the Shiv Sena currently in touch with Eknath Shinde. These are his claims. How much can one really go by what he claims at this point? Is this true?
Yeah, well, Nabila, what we are learning from our sources is that almost 14 MLAs out of 18 are in touch with Eknath Shinde camp. Now, as far as the current scenario is concerned, the MLAs are going to be very important, and as of now, 40 MLAs are with Eknath Shinde. That is what he's claiming. But as far as MP is concerned, why this becomes very important? Because remember, the Eknath Shinde camp is of the belief that once they claim before the governor that they have the 40 MLAs and they should be recognized as the original Shiv Sena party, the MPs will play a major role, because then the matter will go before the election commission, and if the majority of MPs are with Eknath Shinde, then it will be easier for Eknath Shinde camp to take claim of the Shiv Sena party. So these MPs are going to be certainly very important for Eknath Shinde camp. As far as the current political scenario is concerned, it has been indicated by Eknath Shinde and also by the BJP sources that they may form an alliance, and this becomes important as far as the next government. If this government falls, then the next government is concerned. So, of course, these MPs are going to be very crucial for the next government, for the BJP, and most importantly, for Eknath Shinde to take claim of the party. And what we are learning that 14 out of 18 Shiv Sena MPs are in touch with Eknath Shinde, a major setback again for the Uddhav Thackeray camp. Nabila.
Right, Manish, from what we see here, that Uddhav Thackeray seems to be losing control, not just over his MLAs, but even MPs, many of them who claim to be in touch with Eknath Shinde, have lost faith in Uddhav Thackeray's leadership. What does this really signify? And of course, a little, if you could elaborate on the process of being recognized as a separate party. What are the protocols? What should Eknath Shinde boast of having for the Election Commission to grant them a separate party status? And more importantly, the name of the Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena itself and the party symbol, all that they're seeking claim for is what we hear. But will they be granted since they have the numbers?
Yeah, well, Nabila, since the time this entire drama unfolded, the MLAs went out to Guwahati. We have seen that the number of MLAs have left the Uddhav Thackeray camp and they have went to Eknath Shinde camp. Whereas there was a series of meetings between Uddhav Thackeray and senior leaders. There were meetings between public and Uddhav Thackeray, Aditya Thackeray, other senior Sena leaders. But what we can understand and it feels as of now that the MLAs and the MPs, they do not have faith on Uddhav Thackeray camp. There is some problem with the trust, and that is why these MLAs, even after Uddhav Thackeray promised everything, these MLAs are leaving one by one the Uddhav Thackeray camp and going to Eknath Shinde. Also about the MPs also do not have trust that this government will last, and the MLAs and MPs want to be with the camp which is going to form the next government. So certainly it is a major setback for Uddhav Thackeray camp. As far as the recognition of Shiv Sena party is concerned, remember at this point of time what Eknath Shinde has to do, that he has to ensure that on the floor he has the support, and before the governor he can at least convince the governor that he is the original Shiv Sena leader, he is the group leader of Shiv Sena party in the state assembly. But when this matter will be going before the election commission, because the governor itself cannot decide which Shiv Sena party is the original one, it will go before the election commission. And before the election commission, how many MLAs you have, how many MPs you have, based on that, the election commission can recognize that in the state assembly, which Shiv Sena party can form an alliance, which is the original one, and which is not the original one. So it is certainly going to be very important. The MLAs, more than 40 MLAs are with Eknath Shinde in Guwahati, but MPs are going to be very crucial in formation of Eknath Shinde's party, which may be Shiv Sena or some other party at this point of time. But certainly it is going to be important for Eknath Shinde, because in the manner he has garnered support of these MLAs one by one, leaving Uddhav Thackeray camp and going to Eknath Shinde camp, certainly it gives an indication that at this point of time the numbers which are going to be very important for the next government, the numbers are with Eknath Shinde and not with Uddhav Thackeray.
Okay, thank you very much, Munish. From what we know, that the Election Commission will, of course, look at the number of MLAs, the number of MPs who are standing with the rebel camp. If they want to be declared as a separate party, then all this will be keenly looked into. This will be part of the assessment process on how long have these MLAs and MPs been associated with the party? Are these veteran leaders within the party, and what are their numbers? And clearly here, Eknath Shinde boasting of every merit to be recognized as a separate party, as the real Shiv Sena, possibly. All right, now India Today has accessed the possible government formation formula between the BJP and Shinde camp. Will Shinde press for Deputy Chief Minister's post? That's the questions being asked. Of course, those are the feelers he's been sending out as well. As per sources, Shinde has already been drawing out a strategy on portfolios being given to his rebel camp, and also he wants to be accommodating independent MLAs. And we hear that this is the message that he sent out to the BJP as well. He's currently at that bargaining stage. Shinde camp all set to get, again, these are speculations coming in from reliable sources, of course, information coming in from sources, but heavy speculation that more likely Shinde camp will get 8 cabinet berths, 5 MOS, and the BJP mulling over 29 cabinet berths. Shinde camp to press for retaining the present portfolios, as sources say that Uddhav Thackeray government has kept on hold all of the important decisions taken by rebel ministers in the last 1 month. The Shinde camp now wants independents also who are with him, the rebel faction of the independent MLAs, to be included in the cabinet from BJP's quota though. In fact, right now, Eknath Shinde, remember, is already in talks. From what we hear, and extensively, that's the message that we get, is that they're in deep talks with the BJP. There's enough and more strategizing that's currently underway. And from those talks, even though it's not visible to the cameras, because so far, Eknath Shinde or Devendra Fadnavis have not come before the cameras to really discuss their pact with one another. And neither have they met in public eye. They've met in the dead of the night 2 days ago in Gujarat, but then nothing before the cameras. So it's still, again, all source-based information at this point, but very clear at this stage that they are very much thick into talks with each other to stake claim of the government. Let me cut across to Ashutosh Mishra's house. Ashutosh Mishra, who's joining us from the house of Shinde, Eknath Shinde, who is in Thane. Ashutosh, we know the Thane area has been quite vulnerable over the last week since this rebellion broke out. Eknath Shinde's supporters there have been protesting against Sanjay Raut. Is that the scenes that you see today as well? Do we see stepped up security post the Supreme Court's intervention?
Well, as far as security, status is concerned, that's quite, we are seeing an increase. If I could just take you through these images from metal detectors to the personal security, extra policemen, and all the entire premises is being guarded by Maharashtra police. And of course, this has come after the Supreme Court hearing and the assurance by the state government. As far as Thane protest is concerned, the call has not been given yet. In fact, yesterday, there was a show of strength by Eknath Shinde, who's also a member of parliament from Thane district's Kalyan parliamentary constituency. Shrikant Shinde carried out a march, went to offer prayer to Anand Dighe's Samadhi, and clearly today what is happening is that only wait and watch. All camps, both side camps are buying the time, and clearly because until and unless government summons the assembly session for the no confidence motion. Remember, there is also apprehension and concern within the Shinde camp because they have successfully managed to get 38 to 40 MLAs from Shiv Sena. But once they come back, if you remember what Sanjay Raut and other Shiv Sena leaders have been saying, that once you come to Mumbai, once there is a test on the floor, clearly, the game could possibly change, and that's exactly the apprehension coming. Right, imagining what had happened just 2.5 years ago. There was early morning oath ceremony of Devendra Fadnavis with the support of NCP, Ajit Pawar, who rebelled out against the party. So all apprehension continues. So this is all, wait and watch time, and also keeping assurances that there will be no rebel within the rebel camp. There will be no reverse rebellion within the rebels. So clearly all these strategies are being opted out. Legal opinions are being sought, and also eyes on the governor, whether the governor gonna summon, or there will be some independent candidate who will move a no confidence motion. So all these strategies have gone under the carpet because there is a wait and watch policy being adopted by both the sides, where the rebel camps perhaps planning their strategies once they move out, what will be the further course of action. Here the Shiv Sena faction perhaps waiting for a right moment, that unless they're able to communicate with their cadre, with their leaders, and also few amongst the rebels. But in the meanwhile, what we are seeing on the street, that there is a show of strength, and also that who controls the party and power. Remember, just 3 days ago when National Executive of Shiv Sena was called, all the members of the National Executive, remember, National Executive of Shiv Sena is the biggest body which take all the political decisions related to the party. They empowered Uddhav Thackeray to take any decisions against the rebel MLAs. Now, when it comes to the controlling over the party, someone has to first get the decision in their favor from the National Executive as per the Shiv Sena's party constitution. So one side, of course, there is a threat to the Mahavikas Aghadi government. But when it comes to Shiv Sena holding the command over Shiv Sena, just merely breaking the number of MLAs and MPs won't work. You have to have the 2/3 majority of the members of the National Executive, where the National Executive of Shiv Sena do not have only MPs and MLAs, but they also have their Shakha Pramukh, district presidents, block presidents, a local cadre organization. So that's totally a different ball game altogether. So that makes one side where it is challenging for Shiv Sena alliance, other side it is also a challenging task for the Shinde camp as well.
Ashutosh, a quick look around you, if you can show us the security once again. We want to see what Eknath Shinde's home looks like post the Supreme Court's intervention. Would you be able to show us?
Of course, because it just started raining, there was suddenly a rain shower. We have to enter in this waiting area. So there you see this security apparatus. Besides the personal security guard, a metal detector, there you see installed. Another side of the boundary, the entire periphery is being guarded by the Maharashtra police. And these are the additional deployment besides the one being a minister he had. Because remember, there have been the massive clashes, violence. There was also question on the government and that how did they allow such violence happening. So this is the residential area that you see the Eknath Shinde's house, where you have the member of parliament, his son, already here residing, and that's the security apparatus we are seeing here. Right. Increased security with the metal detector, and anyone who's coming out is being pricked. But more importantly, all the Shiv Sena shakhas which are controlled by the Shinde camp are also heavily being guarded by Maharashtra police. And what we are seeing for last at least 2 days, there have been no violent clashes in these areas, which is being dominated by Uddhav Thackeray camp or Shinde camp.
Ashutosh, thank you very much. Ashutosh, in fact, on top of that story, he's right there at Eknath Shinde's home, gave us a good perspective on the kind of security upgrade that Eknath Shinde has got post the Supreme Court's intervention. Thank you, Ashutosh. Quickly cutting across to some big news coming in. All right, mega Maharashtra cabinet meet all set to happen at 2:30 p.m. Uddhav Thackeray to attend via video conferencing. Sources tell us that if the government asks for a floor test, then Aghadi may move the Supreme Court. This is possibly the only string left for the Mahavikas Aghadi at this point to seek the Supreme Court's intervention when asked for a floor test. This is a meeting that's all set to happen at 2:30 p.m. this afternoon. Uddhav Thackeray will be attending this meeting via video conferencing. Sources have told us that if the governor indeed asks for a floor test much earlier, in fact, the Supreme Court has given the rebel camp MLAs time until the 12th of July. So there's a good 10 to 12 days that, or 14 days that the rebel MLAs have now to defend the disqualification notice against them. But there's much speculation that the governor, much before that, could ask for a floor test, use his powers and push for a floor test. And if that happens, we hear that the Aghadi government is mulling over seeking Supreme Court's intervention. But for now, the development is that a meeting has been confirmed for 2:30 p.m. The Mahavikas Aghadi will possibly meeting, discussing the road ahead. Vidya joining us live from Mumbai on that. Vidya, what's on the mind of Uddhav Thackeray and government at this point? We know that they really push to the margins. There's very bleak chances at this point for them to survive as the government of Maharashtra, and we see that they're pulling off last strings, whatever available to them right now.
Well, Uddhav Thackeray for sure has refused to accept the demand of Eknath Shinde that the party should leave the MVA and go ahead with the BJP alliance. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray has been adamant and he has been meeting all the Congress and the NCP leaders and has been assuring them that the MVA will not break. Even till last night when the Congress and the NCP leaders came out of the Matoshi where I'm standing right now, which is the residence of Uddhav Thackeray, even those leaders, after coming out, they very clearly stated that MVA is existing, it will exist and it will complete. In fact, they went on to claim that it will go on for the next 2.5 years further. It will complete the 5-year term, is what the Congress leaders like Nana Patole, Ashok Chavan and all these people when they came out had claimed so. And in fact, in spite of the fact that we kept asking them, what exactly makes you so confident when you don't even have the numbers? The Shiv Sena does not really have the numbers. And they kept saying that they do have the numbers. Most of the MLAs there will come back to the party fold, is an assurance that they are getting from the Shiv Sena. So certainly at this juncture, the MVA are very confident. At least they are portraying themselves to be very confident, and they are really looking forward to what the next step will be from the rebel camp, because it is they who have to take the step of going and asking for, either the governor takes a suo motu cognizance or the BJP goes ahead and tells the governor that this government has lost its majority and there should be a floor test, or it is the rebel camp. At least someone has to take a step. So at this moment, the MVA government in a huddle, taking up meetings among itself as to how it can save its grace. But certainly at this juncture, it is for the other side, the rebel camp or the BJP or the governor to take any action. And it is only then can the MVA actually go to the court and say that what they are doing is not fair. So certainly there is much action expected, but it is for them to actually take a step, is what the Shiv Sena people here have been saying.
All right, at this point, it seems like Uddhav Thackeray barely has any options left, and these are the last cards that he's using to save his government at this point. Vidya, I'm going to come back to you. This is a continued coverage, India Today's most accurate details that we bring to you on our screens, and the details given to us by our battery of reporters across Maharashtra and Assam at this point. Now, after suffering quite a major setback in the Supreme Court, India Today now decodes all those possible scenarios for the Maharashtra government at this point. This political crisis growing in proportions. The governor is likely, again, these are possible scenarios. The governor is likely to take a suo motu cognizance and call the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi government for a floor test to prove their majority. And if those 49 MLAs who are right now with Shinde abstain from voting in the floor test, it would be advantageous for the Bharatiya Janata Party. The BJP has meanwhile 104 lawmakers in the Maharashtra Assembly, and it also claimed to have gotten the support of some of the independent MLAs. This clearly would mean that if those 49 MLAs with Shinde abstain from voting on the floor of the House, then BJP could possibly prove that Mahavikas Aghadi does not have the numbers, and therefore those with the numbers could stake claim. This comes at a time when all those MLAs who are right now with Shinde, close to 49, are facing disqualification from the Maharashtra's Deputy Speaker. But that now has been put on hold by the Supreme Court, giving them much relief and some window to breathe until the 12th of July. The Shiv Sena, in fact, has already removed Shinde as their legislative party leader and recognized Ajay Chaudhary as the CLP leader. But Shinde camp, calling this move as illegal, has claimed that there's no way that Uddhav Thackeray can appoint a new chief whip because he does not have the numbers to give that consent. With each passing hour, the suspense only mounting over Aghadi Sarkar. Is the floor test now inevitable? Now, at this point, we're also looking at this battle growing in proportions, which has now reached the doors of the Raj Bhavan. The Raj Bhavan Secretariat has asked the state government to give out details of the files and proposals that were cleared on June 22nd, 23rd and 24th. The direction comes amid allegations that following this rebellion of the Shiv Sena MLAs, a number of files were quickly cleared off and government resolutions were issued in quite a hurry in the Mantralaya. Last week, BJP leader of the opposition, Praveen Darekar, had written to the governor on the spate of decisions being taken in a hurry and had sought the governor's intervention in this matter. In fact, the governor now has sought for a file asking for all this information to be given to him. What were those proposals and files that were cleared off in a hurry? Remember, at this point, it's evident that Uddhav Thackeray and the Maha Vikas Aghadi alliance partners, the Congress and the NCP put together, are very well aware of them being in the minority. It's likely just about a matter of time that the Maha Vikas Aghadi would be formally in fact, the alliance will have to formally step down if at all they don't prove their majority on the floor of the House. And that seems like a likely scenario. And considering that they're pushed to the margins, it appears that they're trying to quickly pass off some of those proposals and files that were pending. The governor now, who's been alerted about this, has asked a report on what are those files and proposals that were cleared in a hurry. All right, now I'm going to quickly take you through some of the scenarios. At this point, the cards seem to be stacked against Uddhav Thackeray. It seems like very clearly, increasingly, in fact, Uddhav Thackeray and his chances to survival is bleak. Now, from what we see here as the possible scenario panning out, Eknath Shinde more likely might just come to Mumbai soon enough. He will submit a letter to the governor and maybe will ask for a formal pullout from the Maha Vikas Aghadi alliance. I mean, right now it's established that they're no longer part of the Maha Vikas Aghadi, but there needs to be a formal process to be done, and that would mean a letter to the governor saying that we formally pull out support. And then also what we see that Uddhav Thackeray at this point will also try on his end all the might and force and his legal eagles to try and put pressure on the rebel camp. He will also try desperately to woo back those rebel MLAs to see if they can come back to his fold and, immediately stop defections. But again, chances of that also seem very narrow at this point. But of course, Uddhav Thackeray will try his best to convince those rebels. That could be a possible scenario. We're also looking at this point, Uddhav Thackeray, while Uddhav Thackeray and the rebel camp right now are warring, here is the BJP who seems to be in an advantageous position, and they seem to be already readying for a floor test. From what we see here, that the BJP will possibly stake claim for the government. They will in fact, they will approach the governor saying that the Maha Vikas Aghadi does not have the numbers, and therefore we want them to prove their numbers on the floor of the House. They possibly will stake claim, and they will, of course, coordinate with the rebels, and that's a no-brainer. At this point, they're already in talks with the rebel camp. Even though it's not in front of cameras, it's very well understood that there is heavy strategizing and planning and communication at this point between the BJP and the rebel MLAs. Now, they will also possibly use the governor's office for gains. Clearly, Bhagat Singh Koshyari is a BJP man, and that's understood that the governor will show a soft side towards the BJP at this point in Maharashtra. So, yeah, the fight for political violence. On the other hand, we are also looking at the central government at this point, who might just deploy additional central forces, because we're looking at violence erupting in certain pockets of Maharashtra, with the Shiv Senics very angry with the rebel camp breaking away from the Thackeray clan. So very possible that the centre now will step in, additional forces will be sent for protection and to stop this political violence. On that note, I'm going to slip into a short break. We'll be right back with more on that. Stay with us.
You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com or call 9999892171.
Hello, I'm Akshrita Nandagopal, back with yet another episode, and on this show we're going to be talking about the battle between North Indian Bollywood films, Hindi films versus South films.
I don't think I have to do a Bollywood movie just for the sake of doing it.
When they like a film or when they hear about a film on social media or something, they are coming and watching the original with the subtitles.
Good content is traveling. Last 2.5 years on OTT, we all sat at home.
Let's take the latest example that I just referred to, Vikram versus Prithviraj. Both the films released on the same day, on 3rd June. One is ruling the box office, gaining worldwide recognition. The other is struggling right now to get any recognition at all. I'm sure you've guessed one apart from the other, but let me give you some stats as well. The film Vikram, as I mentioned, released on 3rd June. The budget was somewhere between 120 to 150 crores. And if you look at how much it's earned, it's at least triple that, thrice that number. And you compare that to Prithviraj, which had a larger budget of 175 crore rupees, they haven't even managed to break even right now. They're struggling in the box office. Now, in Vikram, there are so many big
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India. You are watching India Today.
All right, here we have the inside track of BJP's game plan. The BJP won't go to the governor. This is what sources tell us in the latest, that the BJP will not go to the governor as yet. The BJP plus the Shinde plus independents at this point stand at 168. So that's well past the majority mark of 143. Clearly the BJP in alliance with Shinde camp and a bunch of independents, this NDA alliance will now stand at 168. The BJP very possibly could stake claim in the days to come, anytime soon. It's very likely that they could possibly approach the governor. But for now, that doesn't seem like the plan. The BJP won't go to the governor at this moment. Let me cut across to Paulmi for more on that. Paulmi, even though the BJP with the Shinde camp, along with those independents, can boast of 168 MLAs, well past the majority mark of 143, yet we hear that they're not ready to go to the governors yet. What's setting them back? Paulmi, if you can hear me.
Well, Nabila, the BJP doesn't want to initiate the process of what looks like the fall of the MVA government. They might have been somewhere behind the curtains, but they don't want to come to the forefront and say that we're the ones saying that this government is in minority. Why don't you call them for a floor test and have them prove their numbers? They want the others in this, in the fray to actually, in fact, call for a floor test. That could possibly be the Shinde faction. That could possibly be, others who could suddenly emerge and seek, in fact, the possibility of a floor test from the governor, or the governor himself could suo moto say, I have seen media reports, it appears to me that this government doesn't have the numbers, come forward to the floor of the assembly and prove your numbers. That is an option that the Supreme Court has hinted at, in fact, in yesterday's proceedings in the court as well. But the BJP has categorically denied that we will be going to the governor. We are not going to the governor. Currently, what we understand from the Eknath Shinde camp is that they're seeking legal advice. Remember, there are cases against 16 of their rebel MLAs that are pending in the Supreme Court. It's an interim order that has come, a stay on disqualification proceedings till the 11th of July. So they have to think forward in terms of legal proceedings. They're currently seeking legal advice as well, sitting down with lawyers, in fact, as we speak. And we've been told by our sources that within the next 2 to 4 days, you will know for sure where this is headed and who exactly approaches the governor. There will be clarity, and as far as possibly getting absolute clarity by the end of the week, it will be very clear who exactly approached the governor, and the governor, of course, calling for a floor test subsequently, because that is going to be the case. That is a step we can preempt, because if there is anybody who approaches the governor and says that this government is in minority, he will have to call for a floor test in order for the government to, of course, prove its majority and its numbers on the floor of the House. Then what we are being told by our sources is that currently, as the numbers look, as they do the math, MVA, which is the Shiv Sena plus the NCP, the Shiv Sena led by Uddhav Thackeray, plus the NCP, plus the Congress, plus 2 of the MIM, 2 of the Shiv Sena, and some of the others that they have in their support right now, stand at 117. BJP plus the Eknath Shinde faction plus others, not just independents, plus others, because there are smaller parties that have come on board as well. Simply with the Eknath Shinde faction, you can say that the Prahar Jan Shakti party is with the Eknath Shinde faction, and 2 of the MLAs are right inside Hotel Radisson Blu inside me. So BJP plus Eknath Shinde faction plus others stand at 168 as per their calculation right now, well past the halfway mark of 143 in an assembly of 285 as it stands right now.
You know, Palmi, from what we hear is that the Shinde camp also strategizing on their own. Stay with us. This is the big news that we have here. An inside track of Shinde camp strategy at this point. Likely, they will ask for a floor test. And a floor test will be likely under the Deputy Speaker. Shinde Sena won't abstain during the floor test. Shinde Sena will not merge with any other party. And the Shinde Sena won't split once in Mumbai. This is, of course, a very favourable scenario to Uddhav Thackeray if at all it pans out this way. But this is the inside track that we get of the Shinde camp strategy at this point. A floor test likely under the Deputy Speaker. The Shinde Sena won't abstain during the floor test, and the Shinde Sena will not merge with any other party. And the Shinde Sena won't split once in Mumbai. So this is exactly what the hopes Uddhav Thackeray will have, that he will be able to bring the Shinde Sena back to their fold, and that they won't split, they will be united, they will not have to merge with any party. Palmi, the Shinde Sena also coming out with different strategies, and it appears for Uddhav Thackeray, the likely scenario would be that the Shinde Sena return to their fold. They join the party under the leadership of Uddhav Thackeray and maybe pull out from the alliance of the Mahavikas Aghadi, but enter an alliance with the BJP formally. They don't have to merge with the BJP, but as Shiv Sena itself, as a full party, can join the BJP. How possible is that scenario?
Well, Nabila, I couldn't catch the entire question. Is it about the merger possibility as far as the Eknath Shinde faction is concerned?
We're looking at different scenarios, Paulami, at this point. Different scenarios that the Shinde camp could play out. At this point, one possibility is that they face the floor test and don't abstain. If they don't abstain, in fact, they will be voting on the floor of the House, and that will be done under the Deputy Speaker. They won't abstain from voting, and therefore the party will not split. The Shiv Sena will be together. That's a scenario that one can imagine may just pan out. What do you think is the possibility of it?
Well, Nabila, a couple of things that you touched upon over there. What we've learned from our top sources within, of course, the Eknath Shinde camp and the Bharatiya Janata Party, we've been speaking across both sides and, of course, to others as well to get a holistic picture of what exactly is the game plan. One, they're not going to abstain from voting. They will vote. So those reports have been denied that the Eknath Shinde camp, just because they don't want to attract any sort of action because there is the grey area around the disqualification proceedings, etc., etc. Whether they are a separate party, not separate unit, not etc., etc. They could possibly abstain from voting. We've been categorically told no, they will vote in a floor test, and that's exactly why they went ahead and sought a stay on their disqualification proceedings. And as far as merger possibilities are concerned, completely dismissed. They're not going to merge with anyone. Also, there were reports doing the rounds, Nabila, you may have caught on to some of those reports which said